Hello, YouTube friends.
Hello, YouTube.
We're here. I think we're good. I think it works.
It's looking not bad.
Did we sufficiently test this yesterday?
We spent some time with it, you know.
Seems good. There's not a ton going on in the stream right now, but we'll flip over to that in a sec.
I'm watching
Jake's a little washed out. Yeah, you do have some sort of bright light source behind you. What is that?
That's
What's going on?
Which one? That's this one. I can turn that one down.
Oh, you have like lights.
Yeah. It got so yesterday was really nice here in Vancouver, and it was hot and sunny, and then today it's just a disaster. So there's it's dark out right now, so I had to turn the lights on so that you could actually see me. But all right, let's cool my jets on that one a little bit. That's a little better. Should I change the color of that one?
You know, I printed out that really helpful timeline, and then I forgot to grab it before this.
Ooh, look at all the
Wow,
colors.
what are you doing over there?
Oh,
Are those Hue? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I have my whole house is hue. Trying to think of like a little bit softer. Well, that's pretty red.
Should we flip over to the stream here and see what's going on, Jake?
Yeah. Turn down the strip back there, which is washing out the wall. That's nicer.
Let's see what's going on in
I
stream
think
world.
regular people flying to space. I mean, SpaceX is going to be flying.
It's like watching the
non-military people, but people that have
the YouTube stream for me coming back to me is like really delayed, so I gotta not pay attention.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
Well, I just wanted to see how far it was. I was learning. Maybe I'll scroll down to the chat now and then just have that open.
Government astronauts performing the research because you're the only ones we've been able to send,
And
right?
they can just hide
We've
it.
had some tourists, though. We've had people that paid their way on a Soyuz.
Jake is a watch. This is the
But
lady.
it's really the Billionaire Boys Club.
How's the
They're kind
lighting
of at
now?
the point
A little better.
Oh, that's much better.
So much money to
Yeah,
go
I'm
to
just
space,
looking
and
at you.
I think that price point will come
They're at the
down
point now
because
where
we
like
make
baseball
people
announcers
more,
get
more
like
amenable
3 hours
for
into a rain delay,
everyday people.
where they're just totally out of topics.
And imagine what it's going to be if it scrubs again today, and they're trying to do all this all again.
Yeah,
Ugh,
I know.
brutal.
And then they got like a
they
got a backup day for
Tuesday,
right?
We will be one step closer to a future where we can all have
I'm gonna get fired.
That was weird because but they originally said it was going to be Wednesday and Thursday, and then they all of a sudden got a Tuesday, which is weird. I don't think they'll need any of those days because today sounds like it's going to be under the gun, but they should get it off. And then tomorrow
feel
does
good
look a
about
lot
today.
better.
Today to have the stage to
I feel good about today. There's something good today. Something good in the air.
Yeah.
Some good
It
vibes,
looks like a
some good
Florida
juju.
launch today.
Yeah, it does.
Trusted
Yeah.
us with this critical mission. The responsibility that's on our shoulders is huge, and we're just.
How you feeling? Are you feeling
Absolutely, and I know.
Are you as
that,
nervous as
know,
you were
as
on Wednesday? Is it?
I'm actually more nervous, so I think it's going to
You're
happen
more
today.
nervous?
From
Yeah.
just a handful of them earlier.
Tuesday-
when
or
we were
what day
riding
was
out
it
to the
that
launch
we-
pad, but
Wednesday.
there are just
I was
Wednesday,
like,
yeah.
that
oh, this
will-
is fun.
you
This
know,
is a lot of
probably
fun.
never
And then
gonna
today
see or
I
hear
was
from
like
on the public stage,
getting
but that
nervous
have
before this, so
poured
I
their
feel like
hearts and souls, as you said,
I knew it
into
wasn't going to
this
happen
mission.
Wednesday.
All the
I was
engineers
like
up late hours,
Wednesday. I don't know what I
double
did. I
checking,
had the
checking,
adrenaline going. I think
checking
too much
everything,
because like we were just going and going and going,
Yeah.
and we did.
problems and get us to this
We did all the
point.
prep
So
work in the morning, and then it was like on a Discord, on a
really
Twitter, and then we
awesome that
did
we've
Tim's
made
thing,
it
and then it
to
was
this
back, and then we were on our stream, and then it like went right up to that, 60 minutes before or whatever, and then it was done. And the crash for me after that was like so bad. We went and ate dinner, and then it was like 6:30 or something on the couch, like, and I was just like falling asleep and in the middle of the evening. I was like, wow, I really spent more energy than I had expected to today.
It was a long wait too. 3 days.
Yeah.
That's a long time between launch attempts. So wow, what's going on
What's
here?
that? What's Bill telling us here?
You'll be fine. I'll be watching and got everything crossed, arms, legs. I'm tied in a knot. Can't wait for you to get back safe.
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
This is the first time a U.S.-built rocket has
Then we got
taken
all the
off
bills.
into space in 9
All the
years.
bills.
What other bills are possibly going to come on? Gates. I think Gates is next.
Means more exploration. More people in space means more exploration. More countries involved in the endeavor of spaceflight.
Yeah, so I feel a little more relaxed today.
This is how we know the cosmos.
But
See, I'm the other way
starting
around.
to-
I was super relaxed on Wednesday.
Congratulations, SpaceX.
Well, I think I came in pacing myself a little better today, knowing I'm like this is a haul. This is like a work day, and it's like it's not nothing. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna watch some space stuff today. Like, no, it's draining. So yeah,
very recognizable
no more bills.
faces
They're out of bills.
following along on the
No
mission.
bills.
Nelson, Bill Nelson. When I was up on that crew access arm, I looked back on what was my grandfather's homestead, and what is today the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge. We need to call Byrne. Where's Byrne?
He's there. I think.
Well, I mean, he should be here. We should call him in.
We're getting hopeful.
Yeah, we should call him. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very excited. Again, we're T-minus
Alright, so I've got the schedule up.
18 minutes from launch.
Next thing on the list.
We're getting a request for a timer, a countdown timer on our stream.
Since arriving at the spacecraft
Oh, that's
pod in
NASA's job.
Denver,
If you can just whip that up.
Yeah, no, I'm not in charge of that. That's NASA's job. Yeah, they don't seem to have that as up as much this time.
Well, they don't put it up like all the time when you're a couple hours out, right? When they get down to like the 30-minute mark, then it'll be up kind of persistently. But
they lean on that
as well as the launch director in Florida.
the shot of
This
the
is where
countdown
they are
clock.
checking their comm path through both
Yeah.
They just keep going to that
ground
whenever
stations
they're
and
switching.
tracking and data relay satellites that we'll use to talk to the crew the entire way to the station.
And after all of those
Kurt is
leak checks
suggesting
were
that
successful,
they randomly do
Justin was able to
10-second
get another
countdowns to random milestones
Castle,
that JAXA
seal
does.
that hatch, but also got its own leak check and was confirmed
I got
successful.
the schedule up here. We could do that. What's coming up next? Well, the next is like the poll count, right? So.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. The next one
Weather
is
operators are about to kick off their final checks on
just
Go for
checking
prop
for
load.
prop load at
which will be used during
2:37
the final
p.m.
go, no-go for launch.
45 minutes
So
before
we're all
launch.
keeping eyes on the weather right now.
2:37.
That's
Before
not
we
40.
get to
That's
that final go, no-go.
wait.
It's
I'm
coming up.
2:37.
That's half an hour.
NASA and SpaceX are going to do internal go polls.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
making
okay.
sure conditions are right with Falcon 9.
Oh,
Do you
for
have
some
the
reason I
spaceflight
kept
in-
thinking of it was 3:33 launch, but it's
and the
3:22.
space station
Got it.
before the
Yeah.
So I was doing bad
final
math.
given. So
Do you
let's
have the
check back
Spaceflight
in with
Insider
Dan
one?
over in Houston.
It's
Gary,
Yeah, I've got
for
all the
status and the team's
time
Like
conversions
this
on it.
thing?
for their
Oh, okay.
rating.
That's
I think this
yeah,
is the
yeah.
one that Michael Sheets tweeted.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. The team here in Mission Control Houston.
I gotta get one of these
remains go
jackets.
for launch. We're also very
No
hopeful
kidding, right? They look good. So they have these ones in a lot of the NASA merch shops. I really saw it in Museum of Flight.
This
I
one?
think well, so not this one, but it's close. It's like you would like it actually better, I bet, because it's like a darker gray, like a really sleek sort of, that kind of carbon fiber gray, like it's almost like the Off-Nominal gray. Actually, it's pretty close to that. And it's like a flight jacket with the nice kind of collars and the neckline and stuff. So it was nice, and I almost bought it, but it was like $90, and I didn't have a good exchange rate at the time, and it just didn't quite fit right. Like it was just like not a good. Put it on. I'm like, it looks good, but
It was a visitor
medium
center
is
jacket.
too small. Yeah, the medium's too small and the large is too big, and I was like, ah. So I didn't buy it. But it was made in Canada, so I don't know.
Would you
what
have
was
had to
going on
pay
there.
import taxes or import fees or something?
Yeah,
You might have gotten free
Like-
back into the
like
board.
this is a very circular tax game we're playing here.
You are
But,
just now joining us.
yeah, I thought it was
We're
really
really
funny though, because it's like
just a little
a
over an
NASA
hour
flight
to
jacket
launch.
feels like it should be
And
like
welcome to our coverage for the mission
made in
known
the
as
United States. Like
Demonstration
that's
Mission 2 or Demos. Liftoff time still holding.
Canada's probably a little better than some of the other places they were making that kind of stuff.
Tracking no
And I think
100%
Canada probably
accurate.
just stitched together all the pieces, but
Definitely made the arms, though.
yeah, definitely made the arms. Arms were top notch, best arms. So. So how's YouTube feeling out there? Give us some chatter in the chat. How you feeling about the launch, and Discord too? So we got the Discord feed up, audio only. So our friends who are patrons are watching there. How you guys feeling? You feel good?
Today is a historic launch. It will be the first time a
I'm kind of getting a sense from a lot of these various streams that people are going to tune in a lot closer to launch this time around.
Yeah.
All of the
I'll
stream
do the-
numbers are lower than Wednesday.
Are the NASA ones lower though? Because they're like almost 2 million already.
Bob and Doug arm the
Are
launch
they?
escape system
Maybe I'm looking at
and
the wrong
begin
thing.
fueling Falcon
Well,
9.
SpaceX is
The
800
launch is
some,
set
and
for
NASA's probably the
3:22
same, right?
p.m.
They're
Eastern. This
you
will
add them up.
include a 12-minute flight
That's
to
about where they
orbit
were.
and then a 19-hour flight to dock with the International Space Station.
All right. Well, I thought
tomorrow
they were
morning.
shaken out to be lower.
So 820 in SpaceX. Yeah, I got 833. Has everyone got the NASA feed open? What does that one look like?
Tomorrow, and then splashing down at the end of their mission. And this is going to be the final test.
NASA's so 460. Okay, so they're like 1.4 right now.
We've been
1.3?
hearing a little bit from the crew on board Dragon, which you can see on your right.
It's still pretty good. That's a pretty good turnout for the stream.
Yeah, it is actually.
Communications and leak checks. They're able to follow all the milestones.
Radishes wants to know when the Pacific time zone people should start drinking, and the correct answer is
whenever feels
spacecraft
right.
separation. Feels jinxy to do it before that.
Let's check in with John I.
Beer
for a
o'clock
status
soon.
update on the vehicles.
PST guys.
Update, John.
Thanks, Jesse. Well, not much yet.
I had to go refill though. I gotta admit, because
Dan and Jesse just brought
Did you
I
get
had
through
to-
a lot of it on during the
yeah,
week?
yeah, I had to come down, you know. So, so yeah, I had to go back to the store yesterday. Stock up. But now I'm good. I'm good for the whole weekend.
Earlier, you heard the comm checks between the responsible engineers.
You still got that bottle of wine? Are you ready for that?
It's my drinks are back. The 80
You're
ounces
back?
of water and everything.
You should give another tour. I want to see them again.
It's the same ones. Same thing.
Of the first and second
Coffee?
stages are beginning
Coffee,
right
okay.
now. We're watching them begin to go through the process.
Water
opening
one.
valves. That check will go for about another 10 minutes, and that'll be our last
Water
one
two.
until propellant loading.
Nice.
And then the
Now the team will assess readiness for launch with a final
orbital
download
operations
poll
Chianti,
at
the
T-minus
classic,
45
Good.
the classic tradition.
and that'll be followed by
The new tradition that we have just made up. I got myself a little bit of water this time. I'm doing better. So, and then the fridge, the off-nominal beer fridge that I have here. I gotta etch the glass on that one. That's what I gotta do.
Oh, that would
Big
be sweet.
off-nominal logo. That'd be pretty cool. You can get these like it's hard to do, but you can get like these little like final etching sheets. So you just like cut them out and stick it on there, and then like it, I don't know, like dissolves the glass into like a etched format or something. So like it's
You should just get one of the
permanent,
die cut stickers for it.
yeah, that'd probably be smarter. The like the car ones you can get or whatever. It's the glass.
The weather, that's the one concern. We will get
My
a
brother
weather
doesn't think
brief
I
at
will finish the
T-minus
entire
1
bottle,
hour,
and
so
he is
just
correct,
under
because that would
12
be
minutes from now.
too much for very short orbital operations, and it would become a very uninteresting
So
stream.
that's one thing that we can check is green.
It's not appropriate for a VV young person like you to drink that much wine. So
Yeah, I hope that guy's watching. Whoever was that was tweeting at us.
Zaphod Beetlebrox. Zaphod Beetlebrox, if you're out there.
How did you remember that?
Because it's like
Is that a
character
reference I don't
from-
get?
Yeah, it's from the Douglas Adams, the
Ah,
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
oh, okay.
Zaphod.
I was
Zaphod.
reading it totally differently.
Is focusing now on the weather brief at T-minus 1 hours. Also, we should hope to hear about the final check on the ascent corridor.
People are asking about my beers,
along
or
the
I'll show you a
Atlantic
couple.
seaboard in case Dragon had to abort on the way to space. The conditions there have been marginal, but the expectation that it would be good for launch. But we will get all of that coming up here very shortly. Prior
Maybe
to
we can
entering
have the
propellant
we can
load.
have the listeners vote
Now,
on which
today
one I
we are
should
aiming
drink.
for launch at 3:22,
So I got a
45
Steamworks
Eastern Daylight Savings
variety
Time.
pack.
or 19 hours,
So
22
this
minutes,
is the
45 seconds universal
it's a
time.
Vancouver brewery,
Once we
Steamworks.
begin loading propellant,
So this is
there's
the
no opportunity to
Heroica
change to
Red
zero.
Ale. It's got
Once
this
propellant is loading, we're
pretty rad
committed.
fireman
We'll get one
on the
chance
front.
at it today. But
Oh,
we
quick
got-
quick break in. Doug was rubbing his eyes. He has the mask up. Glasses back on. So we're just on glasses watch again here for Doug Hurley.
Update.
Good,
We've
good.
got an extensive history now
Here's their
of
classic
Falcon 9
pale ale
Border Coast, and just last
with
year completed
this is a
test run
Vancouver
finishing
landmark, the
less
steam
than an
clock
hour
in
from
Gastown.
beginning here today.
Does it look like that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, pretty close. This is a little tarted up because you can see it can fly. It's like a steampunk flying machine, but that clock is real. And then I've got the Pilsner, very nice Pilsner with
right
Cool
now we're
looking
getting
building
ready
there.
to
It's like
fly
the
US
Flatiron
astronauts
building
from US
plus some
soil for the
steampunk.
first time since 2011.
And then their flagship
Dragon and
IPA,
Falcon 9 together have
which has these
years of
more
operational experience, or
steampunky
what
things
we
going
refer
on
to
it here.
as
So
flight heritage.
that's what I got:
As I
IPA,
mentioned
Pilsner,
earlier,
Pale Ale, and a
SpaceX
red
has
ale.
successfully completed 21
So,
flights of Dragon to and
tell
from
me what you
orbit
think
since
should be the
2010,
celebratory drink today. I'm gonna
including
put these back in the
20
fridge.
trips to the International Space Station. Not only have we conducted thousands of hours of testing, we've also enhanced and added a number of safety features to Dragon.
Much of what was learned with the Cargo Dragon was leveraged in the design of this new vehicle. It's fully autonomous, which means
Trying to.
Red
I'm
ale.
waiting for
fly
Burgers.
itself,
Burgers been
but also
tweeting out
features
those
that full manual
the
override
really good
capability
radar
just in case
images.
of emergency.
Yeah.
He's.
Many of the
I
other
looked up. I
enhancements
think he
help towards
pays a lot of
SpaceX's
money for
goal
that
of
thing. That's how he
reusability
keeps.
Oh, yeah?
His, he keeps his
time
meteorology
between
card
missions. So
by
let's
paying
take a
that
look
service or
at
whatever.
these advancements.
Standing at almost 27 feet tall from the very bottom of the trunk to the
Oh,
very
here's a good
top
one
of the
that you
nose
tweeted a
cone,
second ago.
Crew
See if I
Dragon is
can pull this up.
comprised of two main elements. You have the capsule, which is designed to hold crew and pressurized cargo, and then you have the trunk, which holds unpressurized cargo as well as having a solar array and radiator.
Here you go. Here's a
And
good.
the nose cone at the top
good
of
animation.
the capsule protects the
There we
docking
go.
system as well as the guidance navigation control system, or what we call GNC.
Or maybe
The nose
it's
cone
an
opens for
animation. I don't know if it's a
docking
good
and remains
animation.
attached to the crew.
It's an
And that's
animation.
unlike the previous
It
version of
animates.
Dragon,
It animates.
and that helps towards our reusability efforts.
It sounds like the
opposite
abort
the
area
nose
is good,
cone
which is
is
I was
the
more
trunk.
worried about that
It
today.
has attachment points
Because that
Yeah, 'cause
whole
that was the
storm
picture you were
system
showing
is
with the-
just right up the
It can hold
coast.
cargo.
The trajectory-shaped cloud formation.
Yeah, if you go to
Injects heat from the active thermal control system
goes
into space.
east.
That's the white part.
check this
and that
out.
uses SpaceX's new Pico
Here we go.
tiling
Oh, here we'll do this
technology.
animation loop
The
and
other half
goes.
contains the solar cells used to
Because you
charge
can
the
just see that
spacecraft's batteries.
that whole cloud.
And though we only
Yeah.
have
That's
two
the
astronauts
the
on
whole
board
storm
today,
that
the
we've been talking
spacecraft
about the last couple
actually
days is
designed to accommodate
directly
up to
on the
7
flight
crew
path. Like
members
it couldn't
with
be
modular
more
seats that can
51
be
degree
removed and
inclination than
replaced
it
by
than this currently is.
The seats are made of carbon fiber.
But apparently
and
it's
are
fine.
custom
Apparently
sized
it's going to
for
be out of the way
any
enough.
crew member flying on board.
The control panel centered right
It
between
looks
the
like red
pilot
ale
and
is the
commander
selection
seats
in the
and has
chat
those
for
three
the beer of
touchscreen
choice.
displays that gives the crew
Jason wants to
insight
know if there's
into
any
Dragon
cargo
and
on board.
even
I
the
think there is
ability to
some, right?
operate the vehicle and fly it manually.
And finally, our
At least some
super
stuff. I'd
Draco
probably bring an ice
I don't
cream or
know,
something.
actually.
system is a key
Yeah.
safety feature of crew
Is there anything in the
control,
trunk?
Couple
giving the
apples
crew
or
the
something?
ability to safely
I don't think there's
escape
anything in the
from
trunk.
the time of launch all the way to orbit.
And as we look to the future beyond this test flight later this year, the first
Let's be real. If you had some
operational
astronauts coming up to the
mission
ISS
for
and
NASA
they didn't bring
will
ice
take
cream, how
place.
annoyed would you be?
NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins.
Yeah, I'd be
Like, I'd be
curious.
pretty annoyed. Yeah.
And indicate readiness.
Some fruit or something.
Step 5469 for propellant load.
Just bring me like
Fruit. Yeah.
a couple of apples or
That's a good
Man,
sign. That
I'd
was
probably
the
kill
launch
for an
pad.
Bell
avocado when I
peppers.
was up there for a while.
Teams as we move towards that go no go.
The avocado is definitely the one you cannot like keep on space. Like those things
That's
expire
true.
in 30 minutes after you bring them home, right?
That's
So
100% true.
Um,
How do they hold up in
yeah,
a vacuum? Maybe you can keep them in like a little vacuum. Keep them on the outside and then bring them in back in the Kibo airlock.
it's kind of like freezing them, I guess, right?
I don't know.
But today, Doug Hurley is the spacecraft commander for this mission. He previously flew on 2 space shuttle missions as the pilot on STS-127 and STS-135, which was
Avocado,
the final
pita bread,
space shuttle flight.
Banana and
Here's a
ice cream.
closer
Yeah,
look at
bananas
Doug
would be a good one
Hurley.
too.
We're going back to the whole
Yeah.
running all the B-roll again.
Do it again.
We're ready. I think we're certainly
I
ready.
think I'm still washed out a little bit. I think I need to.
I think we already watched this one, this video.
He is a Marine Corps colonel and test pilot. He
They
was
are out of
selected as an
content. They ran
astronaut
this
in 2000.
an hour and a half ago.
He piloted Space Shuttle Endeavour and Atlantis for STS-135, the final Space Shuttle mission. Introducing NASA astronaut Doug Hurley.
It's a life-changing process in so many ways to fly into space.
Doug looks like a
It's
good
just
guy.
Overwhelming in some respects. Just the sensations, the rumbling, the shaking, the acceleration. My name is Doug Hurley.
The area is
I'm
currently red
spacecraft
for the
commander
electric
the
field
Demo 2
nil
mission to the
rule,
International
which
Space
was
Station.
why they scrubbed last time. But T-minus an hour, there's another update. So
Stephen Clark just said Field Mills just went green.
The first time the Dragon had a crew on
I don't know,
board.
man.
And so
People are
there's
saying
a-
red, people are saying
a
green.
myriad of objectives we wanna achieve.
They were getting trapped in the negative, the triple negatives again.
What might not work on
the red negative weather
just have the entire
violation probability is trending
team that's going to support us getting
left.
to it was really
It's trending down.
What does that mean?
Good or bad?
Lucky ones that get to fly it, but we certainly not for 1 second take for granted the amount of effort that
We don't really need to
so
watch
many
Doug.
other people had to put into this to
No,
make
we
it
don't.
successful.
Like I said, looks like a cool guy.
We'll keep our ear on it, but what else we got going on here?
Garrett in the chat. Want to go out tonight? No, I'm waiting for my avocados to ripen. Savage.
There was some talk earlier of who the backup crew is for this. Did you hear officially who it is? I haven't seen anything on that.
There isn't an official backup crew. No. So they have apparently Kjell Lundgren is like a backup, quasi backup, and so maybe he would just swap out one for one if there was an issue with one of them. But I think maybe it's just the operational flights have like a full assigned backup crew. But this is technically a test flight, right? So
yeah, and there's certainly some benefit to having the guys that have been like embedded in the team for a couple years.
Yeah. Now I'm getting crap for my camera because yours is so good. Thanks a lot, buddy. It does have zoom, Tyler. It does have zoom. Show him the zoom shot. This is the best shot.
I need to set up some sort of way to do that without leaning over there.
Yeah. If this streaming stuff works out, I will make some investments as well. I promise.
Yeah. Well, we're still figuring it out.
Yeah. Just remember this. We're podcasters, guys.
I have Instagram quality lighting. I actually have I have only a very tiny light on in here that probably isn't doing anything. Let's see. And it provides a little bit of color, but this is just my door window next to me. Transparent glass, Jake.
Transparent glass.
Right here.
Yes.
I told you that they had the windows open on that Tesla. You didn't believe me.
Yes, I was mistaken. You're right. Or maybe they didn't yesterday on Wednesday and they did today, and we were both right.
No, they had Bob's was open on Wednesday.
Okay.
I think Doug didn't know that he could, because I feel like that was breaking the rule to have that open.
It felt like it was a little too close. It was not 2 meters apart there.
Especially they were all standing with all the savages out in the main media area.
Savage.
Their family was very close to all of everyone
a lot
else.
of those people are in their own quarantine though, right?
I don't know. I assume that there's...
I mean, there was a lot of exposed people there too, but I think like the closeout crew is probably in quarantine as well,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah, and I'm sure there hasn't been a lot of reporting on it, but I'm sure there's been tests. I'm sure people have been getting tested pretty frequently.
Yeah. Noah says my iPhone looked better. You know what? It did. It really did. And
well, we know that phones are better.
Yeah. So I will probably look at either figuring that out. Like, can I just rig up my phone to do it? That might be something I can do.
Yeah, you could run this. Yeah.
Or I'll just get a real camera.
I mean, you could probably get that mic plugged right in your phone. No problem.
Yes, I probably could. I want to figure out a way to do it though, like put it into my Mac and have it all pipe together,
Oh, that's not gonna work.
There's got to be a way to do that, right? Is there no way to just like put one cable from an iPhone to a Mac and it just magically work because they've already figured that out?
Actually, I think the app that I'm using to use this camera would work.
Mm-hmm. Noah says we can use an iPhone as a webcam with a Mac. See, he says.
It's possible. Plug it in, see what happens.
I don't have a cable with me right now.
All right, we are just 20
Let's see what's going on over here.
From T-minus 1 hour. This is going to be a really big moment that everyone's going to want to listen to. We're expecting a weather update. Obviously hoping that the weather is improving. And so we should find out in the next 10 seconds or so.
Right.
So we're going to
10
stand
seconds,
by
he
for
says.
a moment and wait for the core
I'm gonna
to
turn
give
this
Bob
up.
and Doug a call.
Time for our Jax account.
Jake, do you want to hear the audio from my end?
1 hour.
So that
You are go for section 6.
No, I'm good.
When ready, report go for launch.
We'll put it in work.
And that right there was a call for the crew to refer to some of their procedures. They do some final checks. You can see them checking harnesses, checking helmets, just making sure that they're strapped in and ready to go. And once they're done with that, the crew will report their readiness for launch.
All right, we're inside an hour now.
Eric Berger seems to think it's going to be okay.
SpaceX Dragon in 6.4. Bob and I are go for launch.
Copy, go for launch. And next up will be go no GoPro at
Okay.
T-45.
So crew's ready.
Dragon copy.
All right, the crew is go for launch. So we are inside of 1 hour, still waiting for the weather update. But I mean, this day is one for the history books. We're returning crewed launches to station from American soil on American rockets. It's been almost 9 long years since
You know
we
who's
retired the
putting
space
in
shuttle
work?
program.
You know, like who's
I
like
remember
putting
that
in
day,
good
I'm
work
gonna
on
remember
like
this day.
Twitter?
It's been a
Who's
long
that?
road to get here.
Jonathan
countless
McDowell.
hours by thousands of dedicated
He's always putting in good
professionals
work.
from NASA and
Straight up
SpaceX.
an hour ago, while all this is going on, he gave us some information about a sub-satellite release from the X-37.
Crew Dragon's second test flight and its first
Who
test
has that
with
attention
humans on
capacity?
board. It's been an awesome
This guy's
countdown
amazing.
So far.
Here's Berger's
Still waiting for
latest
that
update.
So it's still a watch item, but the crew is go for launch. So at T-minus
Yeah, I see
45
that.
minutes, hopefully we'll get an update.
The
on
words
that
sound
weather.
good. I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest.
And right here on the one side, you see there's some weather, and the weather is going roughly in this direction. And
He circled something.
there'll be
There's
the new
two
weather
fronts.
over here. These arrows are weathers. So
You have to let us
strap
know.
in.
Let us know what the deal is there, Eric.
The white spots are mosquitoes, says Kurt.
Friends and family gathered outside the operations and checkout building before they began that roughly 20-minute ride to pad 39A. Really touching moment, saying goodbye to their family, both their wives and sons right in front of them.
Yeah, very touching moment.
It's incredible to be able to watch these moments.
Downrange is another story, yes. But we're hearing it's okay, though.
And as they got into their Teslas, we got to watch them ride all the way to the pad, and we got some great footage there. And as you can see on your screen, this is some playback from earlier of them getting into those Teslas, about to make that drive down to the pad. And once they got to the pad, they did take a minute to take in the sights.
Did Air Force One
And
get
they
there
headed
yet?
up the fixed service
What time did
structure
it
to
get
begin
there
the
on
process
Wednesday?
called
I heard it took
crew
off,
ingress,
but
where
Okay.
Bob and Doug
Because that was a sweet shot
entered,
on Wednesday.
and
The
there you can
flyover.
see on
They
your
were very
screen as
close.
they're
They were
coming
like
through the crew
very
access
close to the
arm,
pad.
entering the
Yeah, it was a
workroom
little,
right before they are able
I didn't
to
like it.
ingress the vehicle there. Again, this was from earlier.
Yeah, this all from earlier.
I'm
As
getting
we said,
texts
that
from
being
some of
the
my
last
friends who
place
are
on
like
planet Earth they're standing
really
before they
excited that
climb
it's
into
Bob and Doug
Dragon
in the capsule.
Yeah, it's huge in Canada.
It's huge in Canada. It's just huge. Bob McKenzie to me is like the most stereotypical Canadian name. Like it just, like I know so many Bob McKenzies. Like my stepdad is literally Bob McKenzie, and they're just everywhere. Just Bob McKenzie's everywhere. I can tell you that my stepdad's name is Bob McKenzie, and it is not enough information to dox him. That's how many there are.
The Dragon pull for prop load is coming up here in just about 30 seconds at T-minus 55 minutes. And
Okay,
then
so we're
following
getting
that will
close to
be
this go no go.
T-minus 45 minutes will be the
What time you got on your
internal
stream,
Hawthorne
Jake?
poll, and then the launch director's poll for propellant.
T minus 55 and 12 seconds.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Maybe I gotta reload here.
the call to close their visors and
No, I'm at
arm the
9,
launch
8,
escape
7.
system.
Yeah, you're about 3 seconds behind me. I have
Oh, really?
top to bottom here. Yeah.
Thrusters on Dragon to quickly separate the crew from the rocket, either
I must have some sweet AWS server feed me from Seattle or something.
You got the good
Actually,
one.
maybe here in Vancouver.
Loading for the Falcon 9 will begin. We got there on Wednesday. We got all the way down to about 17 minutes before launch before we had to cancel because of weather. But we're optimistic
I feel like I should get
right
the
now.
mission control
Conditions
thing
have
in my
been
headphone over
improving,
here.
and so we're looking to press ahead.
Try to do an
Ooh,
AirPod in the
Look at that.
AirPod in the headphone.
Throughout the countdown, we've been getting some incredible views of the astronauts inside
That's pretty
Dragon, just
professional.
making all of their final preparations.
Yeah, Bradley, you will
Close-up
get.
views of their
You'll be a
suits
little
on the
bit delayed for
displays
sure
as
because
they
it's got to
just
go
get
from
distracted
NASA
and ready for
to
launch.
Anthony,
The
from Anthony to
teams often
YouTube, and then
describe
YouTube
the
back to
suits
you
as an
again. So
extension of that
you
Dragon
should be a bit
spacecraft. You
behind.
can always think of it as a mini spacecraft inside of a spacecraft. It's got all of the life support, everything that they need, just like the capsule
This is
itself.
on countdown 1. Technical poll is complete. No constraints to proceed into launch escape system arming and propellant load.
And there's that call out that the crew
Sounds good.
is ready. They are ready to
happening.
load prop onto Dragon.
Wow, all right.
We are pushing forward.
That's a good milestone.
T0. And while those suits do look great, they are also engineered to
Sky looks like it's cleared up quite a bit around the Cape.
directly into Dragon seats to provide
It's a little hazy out over the
communications,
water there,
cooling,
but
and the ability to pressurize if necessary.
All right, well, we did get the call out that the technical teams on the ground are ready.
I'm kind of surprised that they're
arming and propellant loading. Again,
that the
things starting to
visors
pick
on
up.
the
It's
masks
really
are
starting
things
to
that they
feel
have
real.
open still,
Let's jump down real quick to
and that they
Team
can
Matt
close and
Kennedy,
seal them
see if
themselves.
you guys are just as excited.
Why do you
I
think that's
sit
weird?
Still right now. It's
Well,
starting to feel
when they do the leak check, they've got masks on, right?
Yeah, it's hard to sit
So
still
wouldn't they
in
want to
there,
make
right?
sure that they still have a good seal?
That rocket fuel going through my veins still.
I know. It's
Yeah, I
Maybe
guess.
it's just surprising that surprisingly easier to manage those visors than
so far
Ace's suits or whatever else we had in the past.
We might make it.
yeah, because that all had like you need someone to put it on for you and like twist,
Yeah.
do all the screws and
Yeah.
whatever. But it's just
when you knew you were going to space.
Oh, that was.
That's the sound it
February
makes.
of 2008. We were in the ONC building getting the pump.
And this is
That would be
not
so
on that
depressing
one.
if that was the sound. Like that would be not confidence inspiring at all if the mask sounded like that.
It was kind of surreal, you know, and to think that it took 10 years of training to fly in space. It took me 10 years from when I got in the Corps in 1988.
Great tweet from Wayne Hale. Nothing like a countdown to bring out the amateur meteorologist and everybody.
So sweet. And, you know, learning how to use
Eric
the
Berger is a
capsule,
professional.
the connection
That's why I
to
love
the
having
room,
Eric there because it's like
much different than
actually
these suits that you have over
Actually, I'm
space.
more of a
not just
professional.
not just some dude.
To go through that whole series of things that you have to do to make sure you're safe in the suit, but we've evolved, we're ready, and they look so cool and calm.
Quick
and
Twitter
collected in
check. What do we got going
their
on
seats
here?
in the vehicle. They're focusing and getting ready to fly in space.
And there's so much excitement around the center. I know, Leland, you've been getting some messages. You got another message from another astronaut.
Yeah, Sunny Williams. Okay, so Sunny,
Sunny is
she's
awesome.
commercial crew also.
She was one of the original cadre. She was one of the original 4 who trained with Bob and Doug from the beginning of the commercial crew program.
And she's one of my classmates. Look at her there. What is she wearing?
She is. Hey,
the
Sunny.
meatball.
We got more meatball talk.
No, she had the worm one on Wednesday, so she wore the meatball today. So
She's
it's
the best.
But now she can wear the
No, don't talk about wormball.
Wormball, yeah, she can mix it up. But yeah, Sunny's awesome. She's training to fly on the Boeing Starliner. In the
I said it in the Discord and I'll say it on
really glad
YouTube as
she's
well. The
watching.
wormball is a sin against nature. It
So
should
thanks
never
a lot,
exist.
Sunny, for sending that note.
Hard agree.
Just-
Again, we're looking
just
at a live
stop.
view of the
Death
Crew
to
Dragon
wormball,
on top
Lars
of
says.
Falcon
Yes.
9 rocket.
100%.
You can see the crew access arm to the right of your screen. That's the hallway that Bob and Doug walked around to get into the White Room, which was the last place we saw them standing up before they climbed inside Dragon. And again,
So
that
we
wider shot
are
there,
just
Launch
waiting
Complex
for
39A, where we are inside of an hour from
propellant
liftoff,
loading,
and
right?
I
Which
think
is
we're just a
in
couple
like 10 minutes.
away from the poll we're going to hear before they start propellant load.
They're go for it, right?
Yeah, but
So
it starts at
Again,
T-minus
two-stage
45.
rocket there. And gosh, you guys, the
Yeah.
weather looks. It looks
And the
not
arm will
that
go
bad.
off
I mean,
in a few
obviously
minutes
that
here.
is not an official forecast, but it doesn't look quite as bad as it did Wednesday. We've got a little.
T-minus
bit better
42
Oh,
is the other
they do a check
there's
at
the
45 and then it
countdown
starts
clock.
loading at 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to pause to listen to that comm.
They've got the time. They've got the countdown up, but it unfortunately is somewhat under our. Actually, it's kind of pleasingly not under our logo on the stream. You don't need to worry about that first number.
If you're just joining us, we're less than 50 minutes from the scheduled liftoff of the
It's looking pretty good out there.
Carrying Crew Dragon. And if we start to hear any kind of update on weather,
Malcolm wants to know what's going to happen after launch. Jake, should we talk about it? Because we're going to hang around for a bit after launch, assuming that this goes off.
The launch director verified.
So, it's pretty typical Falcon 9 launch, right? It'll probably be a shallower
45 minutes. So we're gonna
trajectory, right? Because you don't want too much G-force.
Weather is go at this time.
But it'll be pretty standard Falcon 9 trajectory.
And then they've...
Dragon copy, go weather.
Was that go weather?
Yep, they're good.
And there you heard that call out.
Okay.
So far we have good weather. We are go for launch today. This is getting really exciting. I don't know about
So
you,
once
Dan,
they're
but
in
my heart is
orbit,
beating pretty fast right
they are hanging out for a little while doing checkouts of probably every system they can, and then I think it's like, I'm trying to find that schedule from the other day. I think there's a phasing burn pretty early on,
and it's cleared up now. So
like 40 minutes into the mission or something like that.
Weather.
Yes. And it's been pretty incredible.
I don't have past that. I have
and the road leading up to this point has been
my only thing is up
as
to
well.
Nose cone open, which is T plus 12. Yeah, so phase burn at T plus 46.
Since
46
SpaceX
minutes.
started flying cargo to the International Space Station, now getting ready to launch crew, and
that would be the second stage is gone by then, so that's just Draco's doing that, right?
Yep, and then there is
reminder here in the control room.
So many
we'll
people
be
talking.
Closing doors here once we start with propellant load. Any last minute bio breaks, please go ahead and
everybody go pee.
Yep.
in the next few minutes.
That was very safe for
Bio
broadcast.
That was, you know what? When I think about the word bio break, the first thing that comes to mind is like when you have a long meeting at a corporate office, and it's like, this is a 3-hour meeting. We're
essentially what this is.
So let's go over to our man John I for the latest.
Just like flashbacks there.
T-minus 47 minutes, 24 seconds. We're continuing to count down. As you just heard, the launch director and launch team.
I had some people ask me about the astronauts on Thursday when I went back to work, and they were like, man, they really sat in that capsule for a long time. It must suck, because like, what if you have to go to the bathroom? And I was like, they just go, man.
Just go, man.
It's all set up for them. I'm like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably pretty great, because it's just go. Like, least prep and after work you need to do to go to the bathroom ever. It's just...
So here's a little schedule for after launch as well. So they do a phase burn at 4:09, a manual flight test at 4:55, and then they've got the downlink event almost at 6 with a press conference after that. So pretty long timeline there before they do. I guess they want to get some of that stuff done before they do the press conference so they can talk about it.
Hole is complete. We're go for propellant.
Yeah, because they'll do the flight test already. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Are they going to take 19 hours up there before they get ISS? Can they take the suits off?
I actually don't know. I was wondering that the other day.
Arm retract at T-minus 45 minutes.
Do they have a slim down,
Got an early call from SpaceX
like,
launch director
shirt sleeve?
I don't know, actually.
Go.
I would bet not.
T-minus 45 minutes to prepare for
They're going to have a sleep period in there, right? 19 hours?
Yeah.
As we hear more discussion, we'll stop and let you listen in. But right now, weather for liftoff.
Yeah, I would bet they don't take anything off.
10 to 15 miles an hour.
If they had a 2-day, maybe they would do something for that, but
if it was the longer 31-hour one.
Yeah, or that.
Weather conditions have cleared up, the last one being cumulus clouds.
I actually wonder what the once we're into like crew 1 time, what will the like standard transit time be?
I imagine SpaceX is going to want to go for like the 3-hour, like the rapid one.
I assume they're going to want to punch it up a little bit. Well, because part of this too is that they want to have time just on Dragon before they get to the ISS.
Yeah.
So that is part of this mission.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good. Light rain, it is go, but NASA
So we're 70% for weather now. 70% good.
Oh, that's good.
T-minus 45 minutes and counting. Reminder on hold and launch escape protocol. For non-urgent no-go conditions, brief the CE or LD, and they will approve aborting the launch auto-sequence and proceed to launch abort. For urgent issues affecting the safety of the operation,
I don't even like it when they explain how to do a hold.
Launch control will immediately abort.
Because they're like, why are you explaining this?
It triggers me.
Oh, I thought because like if you're hearing this message and you have an ability to do this, you should know this by now.
Escape flight rules. A reminder on fire alarm instructions. In the event of a fire alarm, key operators previously briefed will remain at their post while the alarm is evaluated. In the event that personal safety is threatened, evacuate to the south-facing emergency exit, which leads directly outside. At this time, weather is go for launch.
We're getting close, Anthony.
We're inside T-minus 4.
I am impressed at how seamless these countdowns have been.
Yeah.
SpaceX launch director is given the final brief to the crew.
A lot of that goes to how
and we will beginning,
they wouldn't have gotten to this launch date without being buttoned up enough. But the fact that they picked May 27th out months ago, and it stuck, right? Obviously, we're not here today because of the weather, but the fact that it stuck all the way to T-minus 16 is amazing.
They continue to monitor the air and the sea space. Everything looks good. And we finally have gotten green across the board.
So it sounds like Trump landed.
But we can't take a deep breath quite yet. We're going to have to watch the weather all the way down to T0, both here at Kennedy Space Center and out
Benjamin's asking if
in the abort zones.
They think Axiom will change their inclination of their station to make it easier. My guess is no.
Well, they're going to ISS first.
Yeah, they're not going to move it from there. It's too expensive.
Very expensive. Plus, they want to be able to. They probably want for everybody to be able to get there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you've got a national space station that you want to do your own things with, sure, put it at your inclination. But if you want to sell tickets from any spaceport, might as well have it as, why not polar?
Yeah, and if you have it like, well, but if you have it in phase with ISS, like every crew operation we have today is basically designed to go to ISS, so you can reuse everything. Like all the math is done, like everything's like figured out. People know how to do it. It's like set. You just
there you go. They're closing the visors. This is what I was wondering about. Glasses watch. He's still wearing them.
Still wearing them. The clock is continuing to tick. My heart is continuing to beat.
Are they going to puff up now, or they do the suit pressure test? When does that happen?
And we are getting
I think they did that already.
Oh, did I miss
think they do that like right after they get in. Yeah, based on this, they do it right before the hatch closes.
Copy.
And as you just.
Oh, I should let me pull up that
Arming the launch escape system.
Some of our Italian friends did a time lapse of the suit check from the last launch attempt.
Other than nominal Falcon.
Did you see this, Jake?
Yeah, I did. That was really cool. It was like blows up, right?
So just a minute ago, we saw the crew access arm retract, and
this
obviously
is a good one.
We just heard on the comms, Bob and Doug getting ready to arm the launch escape system, and so
I like how their arms get progressively like more straight as it pops up. They're like, oh, uncomfortable.
About T-minus 35 minutes, so just over 6 minutes from now, they will have the capability to abort, to separate from Falcon 9 either on the pad or even after liftoff. That's a critical safety capability. And we are going to go over to Hawthorne now to take us through these next minutes. Jesse?
Section, switch in, nitrogen, switch in.
We did hear that call out that they are arming the launch escape system, so very exciting. SpaceX has designed Crew Dragon and Falcon 9 to be the safest launches.
Here's Jake's favorite dolly shot from Hawthorne.
So we
right, it's so good.
SpaceX's
it's nice slow
pan. About this again. Thanks for coming back and joining us today.
We should get that. That should be your next upgrade for your camera setup.
Hey Jesse,
just
happy to
slowly
be here.
pans.
Still monitoring the launch here with our recovery and ground operations teams.
Awesome. And Nick was our mission manager for our in-flight abort test earlier this year and now works on the Starlink team. Nick, on Wednesday you talked about the launch escape system. Could you just give us a brief summary today for those that are joining today?
Sure.
They're
So
ahead
the
of
launch
schedule,
escape
then,
system,
because
again,
the
is our ultimate
crew
safety
access arm.
feature to keep Bob
Oh
and
no,
Doug
no, that's
safe
right. That was
in the
2 minutes
event
ago.
of a major Falcon
They were
anomaly
ahead of
pad.
schedule though,
The system
generally.
is
Like
designed
all the
to
crew
automatically
stuff was
fire
way
if
ahead of
either
schedule.
vehicle detects a dangerous condition developing.
Yeah, because they
If
just
that
launched
happens,
they just armed the launch escape,
engines to push the capsule
Yeah, what
off
time
the
did
which
it
was
say it was
supposed to
supposed
be
to?
supposed to be
away
T
from
minus
this
37, and they just
Oh.
did it.
This capability is absolutely critical.
Maybe they're jumpy.
Oh.
Keeps the crew
So
safe.
prop load in
And we're
4 minutes.
4
now
minutes.
active and armed on
That
the
one they
pad,
won't do ahead of
would
schedule.
No, I don't think so. I think that one
That'll
will
be
stick to.
bang on.
To Dragon to separate and get away from the vehicle. I believe it goes into the ocean. What happens after it lands safely in the ocean?
Correct. So for most of our failure modes, the successful end state is Dragon deploying parachutes, splashing down safely in the ocean.
For most of our
Since a
failure
launch escape
modes,
can
the
happen while
success
vehicle's
state.
on the pad or
What
anywhere
a
straight up
sentence.
through orbit. It could be splashing down right off the coast of Cape Canaveral. It could be splashing down thousands of miles away in the North Atlantic. If that happens, to make sure we can get to Bob and Doug as quickly as possible, the Space Force's 45th Space Wing, Task Force 45, has pararescue teams staged and ready all around the world, ready to drop in and rescue Bob and Doug as soon as possible.
And you mentioned that the launch escape system will keep them safe all the way up to orbit.
Have we heard any
what other options are there after
complaining
Dragon is
about
in
the
orbit?
color of the suits?
Sure.
Because the orange ones from the shuttle were a specific safety color, right?
I saw some chatter of that. I think actually we were talking about it in the Discord
which will bring the
about
capsule
what the
down
decision
to
was
a
there.
splashdown point close to shore, where NASA and SpaceX
I think it
recovery
amounted
forces
to
will be
like
waiting to recover them. It'll look like another
one of the
absolutely
theories was that there
normal,
would not
recovery
be as much
operation
debris
except for the early
as
end
there
of the
were
mission.
in shuttle scenarios.
This
But even in
operation
the
is
case of
something
shuttle,
we're
there was the
doing
blue
with one
ones
of
for a
two
while.
identical crew recovery ships. We do that because
So
Yeah, but yeah, weren't the orange ones specifically in reaction to one of the accidents?
conditions that bring down one site and leave the other one up.
Yeah, I guess so.
So we
No,
have those
because
two identical ships,
John
one in
Young
the
and
Atlantic,
Crippen were
one in the Gulf of
those like
Mexico. And our space
orangey
operations team can redirect the
gold
spacecraft to go
ones.
to whichever site is the
Right.
safest option for the crew
Right,
at
they
that
were
time.
like
They were like test flight suits.
And with the
Yeah,
vehicle
they
in
were
almost
this.
any
They were like
scenario,
leftover
it sounds like
from
the
Skylab
vehicle
or whatever.
will land into the ocean, and that's
This one.
It may look like a gentle landing into the ocean, but it's a pretty
Right, that's what they wore
dynamic
back in the day.
event
Right.
happening. And you mentioned there are teams that
I mean,
are
it could
ready
just
to
be
go and,
like once they've
go
got a
and
sufficiently
rescue the
advanced like
vehicle and
G-perb system on the
astronauts
suit.
board. How
They
do you
don't.
prepare
They're not
for
going to be
something
searching
like that,
visually for these
especially with
guys.
so many different scenarios
Right,
that
yeah.
could happen.
Yeah, so then the Discord are
Sure,
saying
so
they
we're
can track
lucky
the
to have
astronauts
had
better
about a
now.
decade
So
of
Right,
recovery
so, like-
experience with Cargo Dragon
yeah.
1, and
you
our
don't need to
previous
be
trips
like
the International Space
surveying the ocean, I guess.
Station.
Yeah,
Along
right.
with our booster recovery missions, we've got a great team of recovery operators.
Ideally.
Who have a lot of offshore experience with our spacecraft. The system, though, that we took that
Maybe the
experience
suits are
with
orange on the
two
inside and they
crew
can
recovery
reverse them
ships,
after landing.
two identical crew recovery ships, I should say.
They pull like
have
the
a lot of
little
those lessons learned baked
little
into the
thing and it
design of that
flips
ship
inside
and
out
the
real quick.
operations. These new ships have complete medical facilities, an operational helipad,
Blue suits were
and
changed to
redundant
orange after
communications,
Challenger,
power,
and yeah,
propulsion
the
to make sure that
Young and
we're
Crippen
robust and
were
ready
test
for
flight
anything we
suits.
encounter
That's-
offshore.
So
that
they
makes
were the
sense.
suits
We've
that
also done tons
were
of
for the
training
first like 4 or 5
exercises with
launches when they had when they
Yeah,
when
'cause
they were
SPS
still
one-
testing.
1, 2, 3, and 4 were test flights.
I personally think 1 through 135 were test flights.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But one like through 4, that's when they still had ejection seats in Columbia
Right.
then, didn't they?
Yeah, they had them in for the first for their test flights. They had ejection seats in.
And those suits look a lot like U2 suits or SR-71 suits, like really high altitude flight suits, right?
Those are the suits that Tom Cruise is wearing in Top Gun, and the new Top Gun trailer.
Top Gun
Nick, for joining us again.
Toppest gun.
For walking us through all of those details. I hope you're just as excited as we are for.
I did realize this morning as they were talking about how all of these suits are customized to the astronauts that these ones here are going to be like in one will be in SpaceX headquarters and one will be air and space or something.
Fueling is
Yeah.
about
So that'll
to
be sweet.
begin at
We'll have to take a trip
T-minus
to see that.
35 minutes. We're about 50 seconds away from that. And so we're getting really, really close to the first launch of astronauts.
You think this
into
capsule will
orbit
get
from the American
sold
Space
off on another
Station
flight, or is it going to a
2011.
museum as well?
The launch escape system is armed, which
I think it's
as you
going to a
know,
museum.
happens before fueling. And
Belongs in a
Dragon
museum.
propellant load, that's the propellants that are inside
You don't
of
like
the
that
Dragon
reference.
capsule, not the rocket.
Belongs in a
Prop load
Jake,
for Dragon
not an
was
Indiana
placed
Jones
weeks
fan.
ago, and just a few miles down the road in what we call Dragonland. And those propellants, they are MMH, or monomethyl hydrazine. which is
35
Aaron
minutes.
is back. Hello, Aaron.
And ATO, or nitrogen
Aaron.
tetraoxide, that's the oxidizer. Those two come together.
No, this is definitely not going to Udvar
Hazy.
Hazy. This is going straight downtown. This will be next to, I forget how they're redoing that portion of the museum that has like Spaceship One, but I feel like this will go right near that.
The portion that has Spaceship One.
All right, so that that
I'm trying to remember it now.
It was in the entryway, but I don't know where they're putting it now that they're redoing it.
So Dragon has.
I didn't get to see hardly any of it when I went because it was so under construction. There was like 30% of it was open. It was like that front entrance way, and then you go into the room where Skylab is on the left, and then there was like the two little rooms right by the cafeteria, like that are across the hall from each other. That was it.
Oh, really? The whole rest was under construction.
The whole right side was closed. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
did you even get to see like the right flyer? Like was upstairs open?
Yes, that was the one. Oh yeah, that's upstairs. You're right. Yeah, it's upstairs in that one as well.
In the
Yeah.
unlikely event
Saw the
of
right flyer.
emergency that requires us to get off of Dragon, off of Falcon. Now, you probably remember. Let's see.
How cool would this
Mercury,
look though,
Apollo,
next to
Soyuz, they have that
all of the
big
things that are in there?
pointy tower on
Yeah.
top.
Because
That's
you've
the
got
launch escape
I
system
forget
for
which
those
Mercuries and
vehicles.
Geminis are in
It's
there.
actually just another rocket
But you've got
on top
the whole
of
lineup
the spaceship
of
that lifts the vehicle off.
Other than a space
In the
shuttle, you've
case
got
of
every
Dragon, our
U.S.
escape
crewed
system is
vehicle.
integrated
I
into
think
the
they also have
and so that's
one of those TKS capsules that we talked about on Wednesday, the old Soviet one that
Oh, they
almost made it
do.
into the
Yeah, they
commercial
totally
crew
do.
program.
the pad.
Yeah, they totally do.
T0 all the way through to orbit.
That's kind of tucked away though.
Even if the very last minute, if we needed to get
Or no, it's in the room by the Apollo Soyuz mock-up.
we could actually escape to orbit.
Yeah,
So
here's a picture of it. I'll send it to you, and you
escape
can
system for
you can
little
throw it up.
Baby Dragon here.
Thanks, Lauren, and thanks for walking us through that, because
It's
I
so
think
funny.
it's really important that people understand.
This is
that
Jake's
critical
favorite
safety
spaceship.
capability, and
Yeah,
that's,
there
I
it
love
is.
this
that's
thing.
the whole point.
So
when we hear
stupid.
that launch escape system is armed. What that means is that in an instant, they
What is it
can
that you hate about
separate
this?
From Falcon 9, shoot
I
up
don't
into
really
the air, and then
hate it. I
splash
just think
down
it's like
safely in the Atlantic Ocean under Dragon's parachute.
it really screams of
Designed
like
to do
the
that.
death
So,
throes of the Soviet
now
space
that
program,
training is underway,
where it's just like
going on
just
for about
cobbling
10
together
minutes now, so
whatever is
they
left.
have
Like
that
I got
that
that guy's working on a
capability,
capsule, that
ready
guy's
to
working
go
on
on
a
standby
suit.
in
You
an instant
got
if they
solar
need it.
panels.
And so we
Spray it
will
all in the
go
same
over
room. We'll
now
get there. We're gonna beat them still. We're gonna beat them
operational
still.
Stage 2 fuel and stage 2 fuel, all flow rates tracking nominally.
And it flew. It flew a couple times. It docked with
No
Salyut,
people though,
I
right?
think. I don't think it itself did not fly with people, but it docked with the space station, I think, autonomously.
Yeah, so
It might have been I think they docked when when the station was vacant, so. And yeah, the whole spacecraft chassis is basically that same FGB block, so it's like the same as Zarya or Zvezda, one of those two.
The key to the Soviet and Russian space programs: don't change anything.
32 minutes,
Yep,
counting
ever.
down. These final
Literally.
minutes,
50
everything's
years
still
later,
looking good
don't
for
change a
Falcon
thing.
9 Dragon.
Salyut
On
1,
time
same
launch.
as ISS.
Falcon 9 did begin propellant load.
Soyuz
at
rocket,
T-minus
same as
35
Soyuz rocket.
Change
plan.
nothing.
Now on the Falcon 9, we use a fuel and oxidizer.
You got
for propellant
our
propellant.
one
The
confirmed
fuel is
Russian
commonly
fan
known
really
as
mad at you right now.
RP1. That's rocket propellant grade 1 kerosene.
I said it wasn't stupid. You told me it was stupid, and I disagreed with you. I just said it was bizarre.
You said it was stupid.
Much colder than typical for launch vehicles.
It's stupid looking.
This allows for more oxidizer to be loaded into the first and second
John
stage.
I sounds drunk.
Now with the fuel and oxidizer on hand, we need an ignition source to complete that fire triangle.
He's
as we
tired.
call it.
He's over
For
this.
Falcon 9 uses a fluid called T-tub.
Done.
It ignites in the presence of oxygen and gives off a green colored
Flat
flame.
noise does bring up
Now,
Big
it's hard to
Gemini,
see on
which
the
is a
first
dumb
stage
one.
ignition due to the
Yeah,
water
definitely
that will
dumb.
be spraying on the pad, but you might just see the green flare as the second stage engine ignites following stage separation over 2.5 minutes into flight. Now currently first stage fuel tank is about 10% full. The first stage, as a reminder, as you look on the left side of your screens, the first stage is the long white
Franco's
cylinder at the
asking
bottom,
who's
above
operating the
cylinder.
JB
So
Fan
2/3
Club
of
Twitter
the
account.
rocket is that first stage.
I will be
Nobody
very
knows.
clear the JB Fan Club Twitter account is a rogue,
Yeah.
non-official
You don't
account.
notice there's no blue check mark on that account.
No blue check mark on that one.
Which is the top 1/3 between the Dragon and the black cylinder. That's the white second stage. That is being loaded with fuel right now.
It's
That's
actually
about
JB himself.
8%
No,
loaded
no.
at this moment. Liquid oxygen loading.
You would know if it was because there would be selfies.
At T-minus 16 minutes 30 seconds.
100%.
Liquid oxygen loading will continue on both stages all the way down to the last few minutes of the count. We're also loading helium into pressure vessels.
The official JB fan club Twitter account is just Off-Nominal. That's for the record.
Merlin turbo pumps. On board the Dragon spacecraft, astronauts are monitoring systems while the propellant is loaded into Falcon 9. While we mentioned we had trained them with sounds that we had recorded on board. They've been through most of a propellant load, and they are now experiencing those sounds and vibrations.
Stage 1, cryo helium load
continues
started.
to report no problems. They are go to support launch. Weather, the last of the red conditions cleared up about 15 minutes ago. Everything is marginal, but
Eric Berger seems to feel pretty good about this. He said.
Watch all the way through the countdown. Now, as a reminder, today
Here, I'll
we
pull
are
this
now
one up,
into
Jake,
an
see if you can make sense of
instantaneous
this.
launch window now that we've begun propellant loading. So at this point, if we hear a hold for any reason, we'll have to stand down to target our backup launch opportunity.
I also feel good looking at this.
31st.
You could have just brought up a Jackson Pollock painting and I wouldn't have known the difference.
For Demo 2, Bob and Doug's flight to station will take about 19 hours, and their journey is fairly similar.
If he feels good, I feel good.
Yeah, just take him for his word on that one.
Yep, I trust him. Blind faith in whatever he says.
And splashdown.
And as we await T-0 in just under 29 minutes from now, the ground operations teams are doing a series of system checks to make sure Dragon and Falcon 9 are both ready for liftoff. And we're continuing to get live views inside the capsule with Bob and
Did you
Doug,
watch
and also looking in firing
the
room 4
Everyday Astronaut interview with Elon and Breinstein? Elon said that these windows and firing room are the same. It's the same glass from the 60s, and I don't think that's at all true. Because I don't think tempered glass existed then, and I don't think they would have plate glass in the firing room at this point in time.
operators will prepare Dragon
And like it'd probably be all like stained with cigarette smoke and.
execute a series of
Well, they did. I guess they did have those big, like blast window things. Because the outside looked, it had like the shutters.
And just after putting Dragon into the same orbital plane as the station,
Yeah, I know. It sounded like what he was trying to say was like, this is the same building, the same bones. You know, like he was making the good message, and then he went too far down the path, and then he was like, let's see that.
Berthing requires a spacecraft to approach the station and then stop so a crew member can maneuver the station's robotic arm to capture the spacecraft. Docking on this version of Dragon can be done autonomously with no crew on board the station.
Breakfast?
It's typically a faster process
I ate breakfast,
when
yeah.
arriving and leaving, but it does still require
Jason wants to know what the crew capsule name is. I bet we'll know.
They say it in orbit, right?
Yeah, I think they're gonna tell us in that first downlink. I think that's when we're gonna find out.
connect each of the modules on the station.
Suni Williams just called her shot though. She didn't want to. She didn't want to wait.
Did they name theirs?
Yeah, she.
I missed that.
They so when Starliner landed, she named it Calypso.
Oh, right.
But I think that was
yeah.
because she's on the first like actual rotation for Starliner. Is that right? Or was at the time. But now she's gonna fly on a different one because they're gonna.
Docking sequence is complete. Dragon will complete 2
I forget how it went.
using
I think they were gonna reuse the vehicle from the uncrewed flight test on her crew rotation flight, but now because they're flying uncrewed again, everything's shuffled.
It's going to cover all the operations following that final departure maneuver. It's going to include events like the trunk separation, closing of the nose cone, a deorbit
Nate in Discord wants to know if Kelly Clarkson sang again. Yes, same video. Apparently, I think she sang about a week and a half ago, is what I'm thinking.
That was really. It was kind of sad because it was like. It's like sort of it's a big thing to have her come in and sing the anthem, and it was just like, and now Kelly Clarkson and it like showed her like in a closet, and then it like
she picked a bad background
immediately, and it was just like panned over the VAB, and then like didn't even show her again, she was just gone, like, and then never heard from her again. It wasn't like even like, hey, good luck to Bob and Doug, really excited, and then like, oh thanks Kelly, like
go SpaceX, go Dragon, none of that.
Gone, like
the first launch of astronauts
it didn't feel good.
Space Station from U.S. soil.
Well, also because we talked about the other day that she was coming in to bring audience in, but they made no attempt at that being the case.
Than ever
No.
before. And we want to share with you the results of a poll we asked a little earlier. If you could go to the moon, now it's not where the astronauts are going today, they're going to the space station, but if you could go to the moon, would you rather visit the South Pole, where no one has been before, or the Apollo 11 landing site? And
Again, really running out of content here on the stream.
46% of you say you would go to the moon's South Pole, and 54% of you would go to the Apollo 11 landing site. I kind of side with the.
Where would you go, Anthony?
That is so much more split than, like, that's an almost weird result for that poll.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Because I think we would pick South Pole because we're like, oh, Shackleton, yeah, let's do it. But
Flag there and those footsteps.
I don't know if I would go to the South Pole.
No?
Should still be there. Leland, how about you?
Well, like, what am I gonna do there? Like, this is important, but I don't know what to do.
Be the
Like,
first
I'm not-
person at the South Pole.
Sure, I guess, but wouldn't you want to go see like wouldn't you want to go see the lander?
But it's just the descent stage, and like it's probably all screwed up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
I would go for sure. Don't get me
we're
wrong.
going to learn more.
That'd be
from going where
fascinating.
We've never been before, and so we need to go to the South Pole too. And we are thrilled to see all of you following along online. Thank you for answering our poll, and we're going to go over to Tahira, who's been monitoring all the action with less than 25 minutes to go. Tahira, I'm sure things are heating up online.
Some questions about the transit time, 31 hours versus 19. I think 19 is the ideal one, but there's some launch window opportunities where it couldn't work out, and 31 was like a longer variation if they couldn't get the ideal.
I think that's what the last, like there would have been launch opportunities the last 3 days, but those would have been long with transits.
Yeah. And so docking is, what is it like? So 19 hours is, so it's like 10 or 11 tomorrow morning Eastern. Is that about right?
Yeah, I had it up a second ago. Let's see.
From the United States, and it's just going to be a super.
I think it's like 10:30 or something.
For that, Marie, back to you at Kennedy for these last minutes.
Someone's posting the stream stats and then Discord. 1.6 million for SpaceX, 879,000 for NASA, 64 for Off-Nominal.
And all of them are watching the other ones also.
Yeah. Thank you, 64 people. You were great. We really appreciate you stopping by to watch with us. We're not really doing anything special here other than just shooting
hanging
the shit
out, out for the people that we like hanging out with.
Yeah,
10:29 tomorrow morning is docking.
We're just inside 25
10
minutes now,
4
so on Wednesday,
Somebody's at my
were
front door.
5 minutes further in the countdown when we heard
Not
that
a great
call
time.
to scrub, and the weather was still very touch and go at this point.
Jake,
Do you have one of the Nest
You've
cams?
got the stream.
Okay.
I don't want to jinx it.
All right, so Anthony's going to go get the door. Put in the chat what you think is knocking on his door. Is it A, an Amazon delivery person, B, a surprise lunch that he did not tell me about, C,
I have to say,
I don't know, dinosaur? Okay, that's an option, yeah.
The feedback is always just what great people they are. And just
A bio break, secret bio break. He didn't want to admit that he had to take a bio break, so he made up a story about the doorbell ringing. Okay, yeah.
The dads,
they're the dads. They're dads. They are dads, and we've met their families. And when you see people
Beer delivery, that would be smart.
It starts to mean so much. They are a part of our team. You know, they're not a customer. They're our team.
It's Bob and Doug, yeah.
They're a family, and so we're just so excited to see the dads up there today.
Thanks, Franco from Argentina.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
All right, we're going to go send it over to Gary for an update from Houston.
Gary Jordan is the guy with that on the podcast, right? The Houston We Have a Podcast. I think he's the host for that.
The space station team here is focused. All eyes are on the system checks that are happening across the board, and we're listening in as we close in on launch.
Pizza for sure. Oh, man, I would kill for pizza right now. I'm so upset that I didn't plan lunch properly.
Flying over the Pacific Ocean, it's heading to cross right over the launch pad. We might even get some good views from the station. Hope to be capturing those. We'll have the launch view on the big screen up front, and everyone's excited to see our two crew members on their way to the International Space Station. But before we get to it, I just want to pass on good luck from
I'm back. What did I miss?
We held a poll to determine who came to your door.
It's just the guy that bringing mail.
Oh, okay.
And we can't wait to see our team.
That's not what we guessed.
That's it from
The guy bringing mail.
Yeah.
It's a mailman.
It was the mailman.
the guy bringing mail, and I could see him through the transparent glass.
I should have asked if he wanted to go to the Apollo 11 landing site or the South Pole. Let's see what he said.
Stage 2 RP1 mode is complete.
Some good venting here. I'm going to turn up the stream a little for peeps.
As we get ready to load the second stage with liquid oxygen,
Time check, Jake. What are you at on the stream?
T-minus 20:02.
Oh, you're ahead of me again.
Yeah, I always will be, man.
See if I reload this.
I have a lot of years experience on VV Young Anthony, so you'll never catch up.
I'm at 1950 now. Are you close?
1943.
Close enough.
A little more than that's about 60% of the way full. So
this is probably going to happen today.
Is getting ready to begin the liquid oxygen loading. After they finish chilling in the lines that you see
a lot of
on the
venting.
monitor, they'll begin the load at T-minus 16 minutes and 30 seconds. The range right now is go, ready to support.
It looks nice there, so
it does look nice.
Not too windy either. You can tell by the vent cloud is not
our fingers crossed. We're
not moving too much.
Here if anybody calls out an issue, but for the moment, as you can see on the screen, it looks good. Now on the Dragon Tide, the Dragon mission director and the team there are reporting no issues. They've done their communications checkouts. The crew access.
Yeah, where's our latest Pollock weather diagram? Come on, Eric. What do you got?
I think he's still feeling good about it.
Now, final instructions will be going to the crew at T-minus 10 minutes. The crew displays will be configured for launch, and that setup will give astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley insight into how the launch is proceeding.
Pacing. Erin's pacing in her living room. Yeah.
We've already heard the crew.
The real reason, Anthony, that I put these earbuds on instead of my over-the-ear ones that have a cable, so I can leap from my chair in excitement and not wreck anyone.
We're gonna have to cut to this Jake-only view for that.
So I got these going on today. See,
18 minutes,
nice.
15 seconds. Everything continues to be go for an on-time launch. So Dan, Jesse, things are looking pretty good. How are they doing over at your stand?
Things are great from about 15 feet away from you, John I, and honestly, things are looking pretty great down at the pad there. We're seeing a lot more blue in the sky. Green is the color we want when we're talking about weather, and that's where we're sitting right now.
Doing a Twitter check
so
here.
We're continuing to count down. We are under 18 minutes away from liftoff. Again, it's an instantaneous liftoff it's going to be 12:22 and 45 seconds here on the West Coast, 3:22 and 45 seconds over on the East Coast there in Florida. Just a reminder, it's going to be about a 9-minute ride up to orbit for the Falcon 9 and Bob and Doug.
Sounds like
Air
Force One is wheels down.
Flight. So we'll see the first
right
stage
now?
fly until we hear Miko.
Cutting it
main
close.
Engine cut off about
Yeah.
2.5 minutes into flight. After that, the second stage will take over and continue to power them the rest of the way.
Where do you think they're watching from? You think they're watching from the same old VIP site right by, what is that, by Saturn V Center?
Completing its job, it'll continue to coast for about.
Isn't that where they usually have those stands?
And that makes sense because the shuttle landing strip is right there.
Oh, right, yeah, true. He can just literally get out of the plane.
So hop into a limo, drive half a kilometer.
Yeah.
They probably have the whole thing closed off anyway because there's not enough people on this.
Hour ride if we launch today on time. So that means Bob and Doug will get on orbit. They'll have.
Do you think he asked if the one mock-up that's on the side of the runway is real? Like, is that the one that...
Stage 2 launch load started.
Is that one still there? Like, right on the... Because there's like an old mock-up just sitting on the side.
I don't know.
But again, they're going to be doing a series of burns on the way uphill towards the International Space Station 5, spread out over the first 16 hours.
We are closer to launch than we were on Wednesday, Jake.
Get much closer, and it's
here we go
for that approach and docking, and we are expecting that with an on-time launch to happen today. That'll be coming tomorrow in the afternoon. All right. Now that we're under 16 minutes away, we have a special guest joining us.
Now is it new content?
Oh, nice.
T-minus 15 minutes and 45
I wondered
seconds
where she was at.
from liftoff of our second demonstration
I figured she'd be
mission
there.
today.
She has to give us
And
that
we have the
iconic shot of
honor
her
having
in the control room,
SpaceX's
like
President
hugging
and
the
COO, Gwen
controller
Shotwell,
next to her,
join
right?
us. Thanks, Gwen, for coming out and taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Thanks, Jesse.
We know you've been on console.
These socially distant
How's the
interviews are
countdown been going so
brutal.
far in there?
Countdown is clean today, just like it was Wednesday. We did clear the weather hurdles sooner than we did on Wednesday. And the only thing we're watching right now is downrange weather and lightning at the staging location.
Of course.
But we will clear that hurdle at T-minus 7 minutes.
Awesome, great, very exciting. Now I'm going to throw it back to 2012.
Oh, I thought they were
because you
already
on
leaving this
console for
interview. I was like, that was
Dragon
it?
when
Just
was
tell
first
us about the
making its way
abort
to the
location?
space station. How does that experience compare to today?
Stage 2 locks is on the DPUs
So
and
I
Boeing's
was
tracking
nervous
nominally.
then. I stopped getting nervous for launches. Today I'm nervous again.
I was going to
Super
say, bull.
nervous. Stomach and throat.
Understandable.
No, it's a fantastic day today. I'm really excited. The team is pulled together. It's such
Look
a
at this
professional
pan shot,
operation.
man.
And when I say team, by the way, I
Love
mean
the dolly.
SpaceX and NASA. These folks have been working incredibly hard and have done a fantastic job.
Yes, and we are all so excited. And we know that you have to get back inside of mission control, but is there anything that you wanted to say before liftoff to NASA and SpaceX?
Well, I want to thank NASA, of course, for their generosity and their help with getting to this place. I want to thank all the SpaceXers who have come together to make this moment in history. And I want to thank Elon for hiring me.
We thank Elon for hiring you as well.
Elon
Thank
probably
you so
also
much
thanks
for
himself
joining
for
us.
hiring
We'll
you.
let get back to mission control. And good luck with launch today.
Thanks, Jesse, and Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
Well, we are so excited. We are just a few minutes away from countdown, so we are going to turn it over to Dan and John for the final minutes
Do we know
in
who?
terminal count.
I think we
Take
talked
it
about this
away,
before.
John.
Her husband works at JPL. Do we know who that
Minus
is?
13 minutes, 30 seconds. Continue
Yeah.
the countdown.
Is he a public
We're
man?
continuing to load fuel onto the first stage.
Because
That
that's
should
still,
finish up in,
you know,
just about 6
these
minutes.
two astronauts aside,
Fuel is
that's a pretty cool
completely
space
loaded
family.
on the second stage, that's closed out. And we are continuing to load liquid oxygen
Robert
on
Shotwell.
both the first and second stage. The liquid oxygen load beginning on the second stage.
Is he a
just,
Mars guy?
About 3.5 minutes ago.
Cold Atom Lab, it looks
We
like.
are also loading cryogenic helium into the storage vessels on the first and second stage, getting in the last little bits of helium when we keep it cryogenic, cold and liquefied. That gets us, just like we do with liquid oxygen, the maximum amount into the storage volume so that we can get the most performance out of the vehicle. Right now, we are in a fairly quiet state on the vehicle. Ground pumps continuing to put the propellant in to first and second
Oh, they're
stages.
doing a fancy event today at the operations and
Next significant
checkout, or the
issue,
operations
callouts
and
that we're
support
gonna hear will
building,
probably be inside the T-minus
which is
10 minutes when,
that's the
the
one
cockpit
right
crew
by
will listen for that.
the
But at the moment, everything
It's the
continuing
big
to
building
look
that is
good
behind the
at
press site.
T-minus 12 minutes and 20
Right,
seconds.
right.
They usually, I forgot, they have that deck that they do fancy events at.
Yeah. So you can have like a cocktail party up there, right?
Only a little over 12 minutes away. Just a reminder for everybody, it's about a 9-minute ride uphill. We'll have some dueling boxes going on as that first stage is going to be coming home while the second stage is carrying Bob
Wow,
and
we're
Doug
very
into
close.
orbit. But obviously, we'll be keeping an
We are
eye
really
on our
close.
astronauts the whole way uphill. Some of the calls that you'll be hearing, as there will be what we call performance calls over the Dragon to ground the entire way uphill. And you'll just hear some of the SpaceX engineers calling out trajectories and booster performance. So we're always looking for that word nominal. I know that's one of John's favorite words. That's one of mine too. We want to hear nominal as much as possible up on the way uphill. You might also hear some number and letter combinations, and those correspond to the different abort zones that Bob and Doug are in during
What's
their
Bob
flight
doing right now with
uphill.
those fingers?
There's 1A and 1B.
Working out the gloves?
Oh, that's
What's he doing there?
man. I do that.
He's getting ready to hit a board.
About the very top of North Carolina, and then we'll have 2A through 2E or 2 Echo. And
I even
that
have
will
a
be
pattern.
on
That's
the
my
second
fidgeting
stage,
pattern.
and that goes from North Carolina
It's always
all the way up to
1
about
3
the
2
tip of
4 1
Newfoundland,
3 2 4
so
1 3
in the
2
northern
4.
Atlantic, and then there is a zone of the northern Atlantic that we're going to avoid.
What is he doing? This is going on a lot longer. I thought this would be a funny bit for a second.
Similar to forward to Shannon, and that just refers to Shannon.
Dude, you don't think he's
Ireland,
nervous?
Which they'll be.
I guess he
filming
is.
off
That's
the coast of Ireland. At the later stages
oh,
of the
hand stretch.
second stage.
Maybe their hands are falling asleep in the gloves.
Doug's cool as ice. He's like, one stretch. All good. Set.
You're hopefully going to hear that word nominal.
He's got the handle though. He's like,
uphill.
ready. I'm ready to ride this thing.
Minutes, things are pretty quiet. As John I said, it'll pick up.
Yeah, is it some sort of hand signal like, get me out of here?
Their displays are in order. The crew is already strapped in and reported that they are go for
He's
launch.
playing the air guitar. They've got the AC/DC soundtrack on again.
Tick up on the Falcon 9 vehicle.
Paradise City's blaring in the helmet right now.
About 2 minutes prior to launch.
Dragon, SpaceX confirmed displays are
configured for launch. We were talking about UI, right?
SpaceX Dragon.
Oh, he's giving thumbs up.
Configured for launch.
Copy. Bob, Doug, on behalf
All right,
of
what's the
entire
over/under on
SpaceX
when he
team,
stops wiggling
it's a huge
fingers
honor to
on
help
this
you get ready for
countdown?
today's
Is it all the way to launch?
Know that we're with you. Have an amazing flight and enjoy those views of our beautiful planet.
Thanks, Jay. It is absolutely our honor to be part of this huge effort to get the United States back in the launch business. We'll talk to you from orbit. Thank you.
I hate that phrase.
Copy all. Thanks for those
Which one?
words.
Get the United States back in the launch business. You got to put humans in there.
Core, so again, that voice that's going to be talking to Bob and Doug throughout their mission from right here in Hawthorne, just offering a few quick words. The crew did confirm their crew displays
Keep the
are
wiggle fingers
configured
going,
for
Jake.
launch. We are coming up.
They said they were going to
9
start new
minutes and
traditions.
counting.
Pilot wiggle fingers all the way to
We've
T0.
gotten through T-minus 10 minute with the crew discussions. Activity is now going to switch over to Falcon 9. Our next major event comes at T-minus 7 minutes. We begin what we call engine chill. Pre-valves will open. Those currently separate propellants on the first
Zach's
stage
here.
from
Hi,
getting
Zach.
down to the Merlin engines. We'll open the pre-valves. That allowed fuel liquid oxygen.
You know what
to flow to
sucks
the
is
top
that
of the
because
pumps.
their helmet,
And more
the necks
importantly,
don't
when
bend
we
on their
open,
suits,
the
they can't
valves,
see out the
that'll allow
windows
us to
until they're
begin
out of the seats.
chilling the 9 Merlin 1D turbo pumps
Yeah.
on the first stage
Because
engine.
they'd have to look
It'll take a few minutes
straight
to get
down.
them
Yeah.
cold enough to where they would then be ready to pass the large amounts of liquid oxygen through the pumps and into the main thrust chambers when we get to engine ignition at T-minus 2 seconds. We don't
Weather's
want
in
to
about a
try
minute.
to run highly chilled liquid oxygen through a warm pump. You would flash that into gas, and running gas through a high-speed pump.
Bradley
is
says they
not a
have
good
mirrors
thing.
to see the windows.
So right now, we are waiting for T-minus 7 minutes.
do?
That'll start the engine chill. Shortly after
Is that what's above
we'll
the,
also get the fuel shut down.
Is my camera frozen? What's going on here?
Yes, your camera was frozen.
It's a good time for that, for sure.
Listening to the SpaceX launch director in the
Definitely
background
good.
there. As I mentioned, at T-minus 7 minutes as we start the chill,
I think my battery died.
we will
Hold on.
also get into
Oh, no.
the final
Told you I'd have to
topping
do it.
off of stage 1 fuel, and then the fuel load will
Yeah, you should have just
complete.
planned to do it at T-minus 10 anyway. All right, we're doing a battery swap on Anthony's camera.
It's
the
like an
power
Electron
adapter
launch.
for his camera, which he was going to have in time for this, did not arrive via
Hot-
Amazon.
Hot swap.
It's Jeff Bezos' fault.
It's an Electron style hot swap.
Nice. That's right.
We're back.
Yeah. This is like what launch was that where they it was Opportunity, I think, when the Delta rocket
Stage 1 and
had a bad
stage 2
battery on it,
chill has started.
and they went to another pad and stole it off one of the other rockets and swapped it out right there on the launch pad.
We've heard the call out. Stage 1 engine chill has
I'm getting a
started.
live
That's gone up to
question
the
here
crew so
via
that
text
they've
from
got
my wife. Who wants to know
situational
why
awareness.
don't they let their
As I
necks
mentioned,
bend?
The pre-valves are open.
I
And
don't know if
now
anyone
we're
can answer that question.
She's really concerned about the mobility of these suits. Hey?
Yeah.
The liquid oxygen load on first and second
Engine
stage
hydraulic side pressure.
will continue until the last 3 to 2 minutes.
I have to
of the
assume that
countdown.
it's some sort of like
We
they
should
did
hear
some
that
sort of.
call out RP1 load complete coming up at about 6 minutes. Again, RP.
I don't know. Do you think it was
is
like
just
a
densified
abort
kerosene or that rocket fuel
scenario
Falcon 9 is going to be used to power
stability
Bob and Doug to orbit
situation?
today.
Like to be able to sustain that amount of force during an abort? It had to be
Could
like
be,
stable
yeah.
enough for them.
Yeah, because you don't want them banging around,
Stage
right?
1
Right.
fuel is closed out.
Well, he can bend a little bit though.
Not enough to see over the
Right on time.
over his knees
That
to the
call
seat
out indicates
or to
that
the
fuel
window.
loading on the first stage is complete.
How's your heart rate?
Draining back the lines now. So first stage and
gonna
second
happen.
stage fuel are complete.
Are you measuring it?
Liquid oxygen
Where's your Apple
loading
Watch?
is
Oh, yeah, I can
continuing
do that.
on both stages. You can
I'm
see
not
on the
really,
view
like-
on the left side of the monitor.
I'm
the
not freaking out or anything.
condensation, the cold gas wrapped around the stages is the
You're
tank
healthier
skins
than
are
me.
chilled
Your
by
resting
the
heart rate's probably way
densified
better.
liquid
We're getting
oxygen,
more
picking up the
questions
humidity
via
from
text
the
from my
floor
wife
air.
about what happens if the touch screens go out. They just sit there because everything's autonomous
like
at this point.
we're a little more
There's
than
physical
90%
buttons in the
full on the
where those little
oxidizer
handholds
on the
are. There's
first
some
stage,
physical buttons
picking
down
up
there,
towards that
and then on their
80%
armrests are
mark on the
physical
second
buttons.
stage.
Like when the guy on the
Coming
left here,
down
Doug
all the
Hurley,
way
talks
till
back
about
to the
2 or 3 minutes,
back
as John
to
just said, until
launch control or mission
everything is
control,
loaded
hit
and
a
out.
physical
Here's code
button
now.
there, push to talk style.
And we will be go for launch.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count. Vehicle tanks pressing for strongback retract.
Jake, I've got a real John Young situation going on my end of things.
We're pressurizing
Oh, yeah? What does it
the
say? I
Falcon
can't-
9 tanks. We're going to open the clamp
71?
arm around the second stage and begin to retract.
That what it
Isn't
says?
John
71?
Young's like 70 for launch or something?
We'll move
What
back
do you
about
got?
2 degrees.
120?
Liftoff
What, I don't know
position
what that
and
says.
liftoff.
It says
I can't see that.
73.
Then recline
Oh,
about
okay.
45 degrees away.
We're about the same. Look at that.
Everybody check your heart rate. Highest number
Check your heart
gets a free t-shirt.
Launch director called out the strongback retract has started. On the left, you'll see it go back just a couple of
Too old to
degrees.
go any faster. That was the John Young quote for launch. We've got a 93 in Discord.
Oh, yikes. 93.
Pat's got
Calm
it over
down.
9,000.
Over 9,000.
Got a
102
102,
for
that's
you.
pretty good.
4 minutes away from liftoff. Again, at this moment, Bob and Doug are really just laser focused on those displays. They have insight directly into Dragon and the Falcon 9. They're able to see where their fuel loading is at, how everything's progressing down with the count.
11. That's pretty solid.
ALPS final setup started.
Not going to win a free t-shirt.
No.
We've got a
3.5
130 via
minutes
text
from launch.
from our
And the strongback is now
from my
reclining
wife
away
correspondent in
from
the field.
Falcon 9.
130?
That was
Is she
my
jogging right now?
father-in-law. No. Oh, because of the touchscreens, his is currently at 130. He's worried about it.
MVAC igniter purges. Pogo bleed.
Actually, it looks like the wind's picking up a little bit more, huh?
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power. Stage 1, LOX load closed out.
Okay, we're at T-minus 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Stage 1 LOX load is closed out. Stage 2 will continue to load for about another half a minute or so. Once we get the completion of Stage 2 LOX loading, we have to vent down the line, so you'll see another large white cloud coming off of the strongback. That'll be normal. That'll happen
Vehicle
around
is transitioning to
T-minus
internal power.
1 minute and 40 seconds. We're going on internal power now.
This is
Internal
happening,
power.
huh?
Yeah.
A few seconds away from the Stage 2 LOX load being complete. It's been almost 9 years since we've been in this position. A lot of work done by thousands of people to get to this point. All our eyes focused on 2 now.
Is that the water suppression?
What's going on there?
Or is that rain?
Stage 2 LOX load is closed
This
out.
is sprinkler
What is
or
that?
something.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Dragon is in auto idle.
Oh, man.
What was that?
Stage 2 LOX load complete. All fuel, all oxidizer on Falcon 9. 1 minute, 34 seconds to go till launch.
Ground gas closeouts is starting.
This is crazy.
The clock is now equal to my heart rate. This is where the rocket takes over. 1 minute, right? There it is.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Dragon is in countdown. FTS is armed for launch.
under a minute now. The FTS, the flight termination system, has been armed.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
Here we go, buddy.
Wow.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Look at that razzle dazzle.
Whoa, look at this crazy countdown.
Yeah.
The cheers are going to be insane.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon.
Ooh,
Go
nice
NASA,
shot.
Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Oh my God.
See that worm.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal.
M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems
Love
are
that sound.
go.
That's so good.
God, I love that sound.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
I have a little bit
We
of
heard that
trouble
one
tracking
Bravo
this on the
call
camera,
out.
huh?
That's just the second abort zone that they're in.
Is
They'll
Tim driving
continue
this?
To be on this until the first stage has done its job. And
There we
they
go.
switch
Look at that
over to the
shot.
Second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine.
I feel like we need to hear more from the
MVAC
astronauts.
engine ready to light. That'll come at about
Just getting those abort mode
2:44 into
callouts,
flight.
right?
Right
Yes,
now,
but we
everything
need like the
continuing to
feels
look
good. Like the,
Next
you know how
major
you always got
event
those from history?
Coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second
think Bob's
stage
just doing
engine to
this.
continue to carry astronauts into orbit.
Except it's like
Coming up in about 20 seconds.
M1D throttle down.
That's a great shot.
We heard we're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have Miko.
Miko.
2 Alpha.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
well, they look good and comfy.
Stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now
Acquisition of signal
carrying
loss.
Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to
AOS
continue under the
wallops.
power of this second stage.
Stage
Nice.
2 propulsion is nominal.
They're coming right by me, Jake.
Which will cut off.
Yeah,
Seeking
go out and
the
look.
Second engine cut off at about 8
You used to be
minutes
able to see
44
shuttle
seconds
from
into today's flight.
the
So a
Jersey
little over
Shore.
5 minutes to go still.
Especially night
on
launches.
this
You could see it come over the
second stage.
horizon,
You heard the call
burn
out
all the
from
way
Alpha,
till
so they're now
Miko.
in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard, almost to Canada. Things looking good.
I
though,
love that
getting
that
good
middle
callouts,
display
nominal
is basically just the
propulsion on that
The live
system.
stream.
SpaceX webcast. Yeah,
Bob and Doug
totally.
continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory. Acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
He's trying to get a look.
SpaceX
Do you see him?
Dragon nominal trajectory.
Bob's trying to take a peek.
All right, here in nominal trajectory, so Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
This is the easy part for the viewers. It's funny how much like I feel like they would have gotten a lot of crap if they did this like a regular launch and showed the first stage on the left and second stage engine on the right and no astronauts.
Dragon SpaceX nominal.
They got to bring all of it up though, right?
I assume they'll bring back for entry burn. They'll bring back
Yeah,
the
they're
first
going to
stage.
toggle.
Continuing.
The second stage engine is not really that exciting to watch, you know. You do good work, MVAC, but you're not particularly flashy.
And while they continue uphill, looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt to land on our drone ship, Of Course, I Still Love You today. And we're just about a couple minutes away from the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down
So
as it
chill.
enters back into the Earth's
They're pulling
atmosphere.
like 2.5 or 3 Gs at this point, and he's sitting there like this.
Landing burn, which is just a single
just kinda like-
engine
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Nominal
Starting
trajectory.
chill for entry burn.
there's that call out.
I think
They
I
are
saw
still
that
on a nominal
the
trajectory
at
on
burnout
Dragon.
they're at like 3.5
Still
Gs.
on second stage, and that's
For
that
second stage.
MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen.
It's pretty high, right?
Oh, it's higher
For-
than shuttle. Yeah, shuttle was almost
Yeah.
was right around 3, maybe 3.2.
Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship. Of Course, I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon.
Adam in our chats is like, I forgot about the first stage. It's usually the most exciting part, but not today.
Nobody cares.
Like it can just fall in the ocean. I don't care.
I only a little bit care because they're having such problems lately.
Stage 2 propulsion is still good.
A little over 3 minutes.
Also, you want to have that milestone, right? Like first crew launch on a reusable first stage or whatever.
And you definitely don't want the SpaceX fails to land the rocket after
Yeah,
launching
definitely.
crew. You don't want those headlines.
Nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with
SpaceX
Bob and
crew
Doug
launch fails. Crew escapes to
on your
orbit.
trajectory. Just about 10 seconds
Crew makes
away
it to
from
orbit.
that
Rocket
first stage.
fails. What?
Yeah.
Starting that entry burn on your right screen, we should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there is that entry burn
Acquisition
beginning.
signal, New Hampshire.
This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
This is a direct ascent, right? Like there's not a coast.
There's not a second. No.
We're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. It'll be the second engine cutoff.
Stage 1
We'll
entry
be
burn
looking
shut
for
down.
that stage 1 landing burn.
I think they're feeling it
shortly
now,
after.
huh?
Yeah.
They're in it right
In
now.
a few seconds of each other. It's such a
Can you
cool
imagine
view
every
on your
second
left
feeling
screen, seeing Bob and Doug
more
on
and more?
Dragon. Right
That's
now
gotta
you
be
can see
crazy.
the displays that they are seeing right now themselves.
Terminal guidance.
Like 3 Gs is essentially like imagine you're laying on the ground and 2 more of you are packed on top of you, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
Plus shaking
We are
for
coming up
8 minutes.
25 seconds or so away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about
Stage
1.8.
Copy Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1 landing startup.
They made it through the
MVAC
days,
dial
Jake.
step.
Remember we were looking at the days the other day?
MVAC shut down. Stage 1 landing line.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship. Of course, I still love
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal orbital insertion.
Nice.
Launch escape
Confirmation
system is
nominal
disarmed.
orbital insertion.
Nominal orbital insertion.
And we don't even have to be
What you're
worried
seeing on
about
your
solar
screen is
panels
a
being
live view
deployed.
of our drone ship,
Nope.
where our first stage will be coming down.
Oh, that's a new screen.
Yeah, that's a new screen.
Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first stage successfully landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed. This
Within
is
the circle,
first
pretty dead
Falcon 9
center.
to carry
Pretty good landing.
humans to orbit,
Does
so
that one go
very
in a museum?
exciting for us.
No, they're going to reuse
And
that one.
as you can see on your right screen, Bob and Doug are still making their
That's a
way
good booster
to
right there.
their
They don't get many of those back these days, Jake.
orbits.
Not too many
So
2020
exciting
boosters
today.
that made it back.
It doesn't stop.
It does not stop.
All right, we did hear again that call out. Good orbital insertion.
Are they
So that
unbuckling?
means
What's going on there?
Falcon 9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
And we need an FRC on recovery 1.
And it's right
There's the
about 12
dinosaur.
There he
minutes
is.
when Dragon will separate. Looks like we saw a 0G indicator floating
Doug
around
lost it.
there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about
Or Bob
what
lost it.
exactly
Who's on the
that
right?
is
Bob's
that they
on the
brought
right.
up with them.
Yeah.
He's like, ah, crap. It went over in the corner.
And before
He
separation,
fumbled it.
before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage,
R.I.P.
they do
Space
make
Dino.
sure
He's like, I'll just use my
to
arms.
they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and it is in good condition before we separate.
That's right. The upper stage does small attitude maneuver using some cold gas thrusters built into the rocket body.
I hope they named the
itself.
capsule Puff.
You think they're going to go the silly route?
Exactly. So we do expect that separation.
Man,
to
would that
occur
ever
about a
ignite some
minute from now,
drama?
but
Right? Oh my gosh.
They
Jeez.
do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to separate. Such cool views. I cannot get over this view.
They should
that
name
we're
it after
seeing right
Elon's
now.
son.
Bob and Doug on the right screen inside of Crew Dragon.
So they're going to separate in
out
like 30
space.
seconds here.
Yeah, already 200 kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters, 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per
Is that
hour.
the inside of the trunk?
Yeah, I
Looks
think so.
different.
You'll see the stage
Yeah,
fly
we're
away.
just standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its flight to the International Space Station. Standing by for separation.
Expected loss of signal, wallops.
It sounds like we had an expected LOS loss of signal with one of the ground stations. Waiting for confirmation now of that
Dragon separation
There it
confirmed.
goes.
Love.
Dragon
Look at that shot.
separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you
Countdown
of
1 is
Dragon
emerged.
separating.
Separation confirmed.
And there's that call out. Dragon
Man, that's
is
a pretty
now
shot.
officially making its
Lovely.
way to the
Just
International
lovely.
Space Station today.
Dragon SpaceX, with that separation call, we have a few words for you from our Falcon 9 team.
Standing by.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to Ground. Bob Doug, on behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
Sign up for our credit card. You get free miles for your trip to the ISS.
Thanks, Bala. Congratulations to you and the F9 team for the first human ride for Falcon 9, and it was incredible. Appreciate all the hard work, and thanks for the great ride to space.
Copy all.
Power and like, proud of you guys and the rest of the team. Thank you so much for what you've done for us today, putting America back into low Earth orbit from the Florida coast.
Copy all. Good luck. Godspeed.
When can they unstrap? They're probably dying to go over to the window.
All right, so Bob and Doug are in
And Dragon
space.
SpaceX, we confirm nominal E-close activation and service section Draco checkouts. Nose cone deploys
Looks like
in
that nose
progress.
cone's open.
Copy all. We're monitoring.
The Corps here in Hawthorne giving the crew a heads up that we have confirmation the nose cone is deploying. So again, that nose cone is going to open up a little bit more than 90 degrees, goes up to about, I think, 105 degrees, and that's going to expose the actual docking ring and the hatch that they're going to be going through once they attach to the International Space Station, and also 4 of those Draco thrusters, we call them the forward bulkhead thrusters, that are going to be used for these major phase burns or firings of those thrusters to actually raise their orbit gradually over the coming hours.
So they go.
Also heard good
essentially
activation of the
they go
ECLS,
eyeballs out
environmental
on the
control
burns.
and life
Not that it's
support
going to be a
system.
crazy thrust,
Everything
but
controlling their atmosphere, just keeping Dragon a nice, safe, habitable environment where they're going to be living for the next 19 hours until they arrive at the space station.
Right, exactly. And Falcon 9's job may be done for today, but the mission is not over. Crew Dragon's job is not done. As you can see, Bob and Doug
This is an interesting
Crew Dragon making their way.
kind of change to what we're used to, because SpaceX, like, you know, there's always that talk about, yes, the first stage landed, but the job isn't done because the second stage is still burning. And then once it's separate, they're like, we're out, see ya. But like now it's still going right now. It's like not quite ready to cheer yet.
And see and watch what they're doing now that they are in orbit.
I wonder, are they gonna?
It's incredible to just be looking over their
Do they
shoulder,
fly backwards, a la Space Shuttle,
ride.
on the way to ISS?
And we're going to be with them, and we're going to be with all of you the entire way for their journey to the space station. We're going to be covering live throughout. Bob and Doug will obviously have a sleep period where they'll get about 8 hours of sleep a little bit later today before they wake up for all of their final approach. One of the major things we are looking forward to in the next couple of hours is going to be their first turn at the controls. So they're actually going to be using those touchscreen displays to take control and manually pilot Dragon. We'll walk you through what that's going to look like, and assuming we have some good ground station coverage, we'll be able to get views from right inside.
It's already
Dragon,
spinning around, eh?
I think they fly backwards.
Manipulate the controls at the display.
Because I would bet
but
that,
I mean, we had a
like, I wouldn't be shocked. Obviously, that's a decision for
job,
orbital debris, just like the shuttle was.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a day. This is a historical.
And that
day.
might have
This
driven
is
the decision to have
kicking off that new era of space flight that
use the
we've all
thrusters
been
up
talking
top.
about and longing for since the space
Also,
shuttle
you know how on
came to an end
old
in
school Dragon,
2011.
there's that little there's the little bay that opens that has like the star trackers in it and all that.
Second time's a charm.
Right.
Pull it up.
All right, so day for the history books. As you can see, we have lost some live signal there, but the mission still continues.
It has the grapple point, and
it's
got star trackers in it, I believe.
To continue broadcasting live with you guys.
Loss of signal, Newfoundland.
Right, like this
Yeah,
thing.
Jesse and Dan, we are just in awe over here. And
So I would bet that they move star trackers and things like that up into the up into the nose cone area, so that they just have it all
And the room cleared
sealed
out.
in there.
Everybody was outside watching, and inside the lights were shaking, the cameras were shaking. Lauren came back in with tears in her eyes. This is really amazing.
I can't believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. This is. I'm a little bit speechless. Just so grateful that we got them up there, and there's a lot more to go.
So they've got that burn at 4:09, so like 30 minutes from now.
Yeah. Leland, you were talking about it. It's amazing what we can do when we work together.
Yes, American astronauts on an American rocket from American soil, showing you what Americans can do when we come together as a team and blast Doug and Bob off to the cosmos. This is what it's all about, and their families and everyone is working together to take them up to space safely. So I don't know what to say. That rocket fuel is still in my veins, and I want to go get on the rocket.
Well, it's too late now. Maybe the next one. I know. But we want to go over to Daryl at OSB2. He's there with the administrator.
Good flight.
Oh, you got your
mug.
mug.
He has more words than we do because we're still kind of speechless. Daryl.
Pretty incredible here, Marie, at the Operations Support Building, where a chorus of applause has been happening from the beginning of launch and throughout the various stages. Some very special guests were here to watch it. That includes President Donald Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, and NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, who joins me now. And you were with the President and the Vice President. America's back, launching human astronauts again. Tell me how you feel about that.
Hey, Jim, how do you feel about American astronauts?
So this has been a long time coming. It's been 9 years since we've launched American astronauts on American rockets from American soil, and now it's
He's out of breath. Look at how pumped he is. That's hilarious.
It's been way too long. I want to give a lot of credit to Charlie Bolden. He was my predecessor as the NASA administrator. He fought hard for this program at a time when it didn't get any support in Congress. We now have an administration that is fully supportive of our spaceflight initiatives, not just on the exploration, discovery, going to the moon, onto Mars, but also from a Space Force perspective. Our budgets are going up.
Random call out.
Pulling things from the stump speech.
It was just an amazing day.
America.
One of the things the president did right out of the gate when he became president is he created what's called the National Space Council. And he put the vice president as chairman of the National Space Council. And on that National Space Council, you've got the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of Education.
Having two astronauts in orbit.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, all of these
Who
different,
cares about the National Space Council right now?
That deal with space day in and day out. A lot of people don't realize how many parts of the federal government deal with space. And the vice president invited those members of the National Space Council here as well. So we just had, and then we had members of Congress, bipartisan members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, who have been involved in supporting this program, for a long time now. So I'll just tell you, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. But I will also tell you, I am not going to celebrate until Bob and Doug are home safely. Tomorrow, they're going to dock to the International Space Station. Tonight, I'm heading to Houston to be at the Johnson Space Center when that happens. So it's a bit of a relief. The nose cone is now open. It's now deployed, which means that now we're going to go into some burns. We're going to have some phasing burns. We're going to have some boosting burns, and we're going to get as much as we can in alignment with the International Space Station as early as possible here. But also, I know it's hard, but the big thing that we need to do now is we got to get Bob and Doug, who have now gone through this exercise twice. They need to get some rest. But I can guarantee you there will be no rest for a good amount of time while they're up there in orbit.
And they are certainly on their way, and a lot of people joining us
he has
for this
almost no idea what he's saying at this point.
And watching, we just heard 10 million
he's just
people
kind of doing random bits of the speech that's in his
head. And President Donald Trump becoming the third sitting president to watch a launch live from the Kennedy Space Center. The first.
To be clear, I think he's the only sitting president to watch American astronauts launch on a brand new rocket that has never launched before, and that's a big risk. He also said
the other
we're
85
go to the moon
didn't
by
matter.
2024. That means he's
this is the first one.
Himself at risk to say, look, I'm going to be accountable. Potentially, I'm going to be accountable to the initiatives that I put forward.
He's off the chain at this point.
We have not had that kind of leadership for space in a very, very long time, and we're so grateful for it.
What was it like watching the launch with the president? How did he react?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's obviously something that is near and dear to him. He said it a year and a half ago. He put it in the State of the Union speech. He said, we're going to launch American astronauts on American rockets from American soil. And of course, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, we better get after this. Of course, we've worked overtime to make it happen. We might be a little behind schedule, but we got it done, and we got it done safely. We're knocking on wood, but so far so good. It's looking good.
You personally, Jim, as that rocket was lifting off and you felt that rumble?
Yeah.
What'd you feel? What'd you experience?
Well, I was praying. I'm not going to lie to you. I was praying. I was praying for Bob and Doug. I was praying for their families. I was praying for their safe return, even though they're just going. But man, I'll tell you, it was. I've heard that rumble before, but it's a whole different feeling.
Is he tearing up?
He's been crying the whole time. Yeah,
he's and they are our team. They are America's team. This is Launch America. This is everything that America has to offer in its purest form.
Look at his eyes.
And times are tough right now. There is no doubt. We've got the coronavirus pandemic. We have other challenges as a country. But I hope this moment in time is an opportunity for everybody to reflect
American tears.
on humanity and what we can do
for American politicians on American soil.
And when we achieve. And if this can inspire a young child to become the next Elon Musk or the next Jeff Bezos or the next Sir Richard Branson, then that's what this is all about.
Or the next Jim Bridenstine.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put me in that category, but.
Well, we appreciate your leadership for the space agency at this time, and congratulations.
Daryl's going to go back to his CrossFit course.
Thank you.
That
It's
he
been
runs.
a great ride.
All right, very good. Marie, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Doug and Bob are on course to arrive at the International Space Station tomorrow, May 31st at 10:27 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be staying on the air for continuous live coverage along the entire ride to the station.
Jake, let's fill some air here.
Coverage here is concluding. We will turn it over to the teams in Hawthorne and Houston to take us through the next phases of the demonstration mission, all the way through hatch
Jake's
opening
memeing hard.
and welcome ceremony on the space station for Bob and Doug.
Yeah, by the way, people are surprised about
And
this.
as
They
you
are
follow along,
they are
we
keeping this
invite
live
you
on
to
NASA
tune
TV
into a
all the way to
post-launch
docking.
news conference that's happening
So-
here at 6:30
Which
this
is going to be a
evening
pretty
Eastern Time
dull
on NASA
sleep
TV.
period, that's for sure.
We'll have NASA and SpaceX
Yeah, I would bet that
leaders
it's just
here
like the
to
view
take
out the window or
questions
something.
live on this unprecedented achievement.
Actually, have we
in
seen
human
a shot
spaceflight.
from
And in addition to
the
NASA
outside
TV,
of Dragon
you
yet?
can follow along
I don't think
always
so, no.
on Twitter at @NASA and NASA.gov.
Is this
We'll
where
probably
the-
we're going to do it like
as it
old school style,
progresses.
where like
Here
you're
now
going to go
are
up with like the
highlights from the
Hasselblad
mission
and like
so
take a
far.
picture of it.
May 30th,
Let me
2020.
get the camera here.
Remember this day. You'll
Now, is
have
this where the
memory
coverage
forever,
from
the day America
SpaceX and NASA
returned
diverge?
astronauts to orbit from U.S.
I must
soil.
flip over to the NASA stream.
Oh, maybe.
In human space
Nah,
flight.
it's same right now.
And in addition to NASA TV, you can follow in human space flight. And in addition to NASA
So
TV, you can
interestingly,
follow
the last
along
couple days,
always
there's
on
been
Twitter at NASA
like
and NASA.gov for mission
Breinstein shouted out Bolden
Here now are
and
highlights from the
the
mission
Bush
so
administration, the Obama administration,
2020.
and then
Remember this
the
day.
Biden campaign had a
You'll
call
have
with
this memory
reporters
forever, the day America
that
returned
was with
astronauts to orbit
Bolden
US soil.
and Bill Nelson, who was the senator from Florida, and then is now on is it National Space Council? No, NASA Advisory Council. After he lost his election, Breinstein put him on the Advisory Council. But they both were like, hey, he's doing a really good job. Bolden said he's turned out to be a really fine administrator. And there's this weird, like, everyone's being nice to each other all of a sudden. Because obviously everyone wants a little bit of credit, so nobody's going to dunk on anybody because then they would not give him the credit.
Yeah.
And Bolden himself said even if Biden wins, he wants to see the current program, Artemis, continue. So there's definitely more alignment from the campaign itself, whether or not like Lori Garver or others that are mentioned as potential administrators like disagree. There seems to be some alignment in the campaigns, which is interesting, around this launch as well. That's the other thing. What in a midterm election? When has space come up this early ever? Like months away from the election, not in Florida specifically.
It's a big space event, but it's also just like it's one of those events that, like we've been talking about, it crosses into a new sphere of media, right? Like Falcon Heavy was a big event, but some people heard they launched a car, and that's all you heard. But no one really understood what that was, right? So, but this is not that thing. This is, I'm getting Slack messages and text messages and emails from all sorts of people I know that are asking me like, "Oh, you must be doing something today, right? This is a pretty big day." Like they know about it, right? So that's pretty rad. And so, when's the last time we had like that level of event in an election year? Like it's the timing.
That's true.
Seems like it's
and Florida,
good, right?
the swing state that it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting because there are a lot of people that if they are single or few issue voters, especially in Florida, really like the way the current administrator is doing things, would want to keep it the same. So if we're getting way into politics here, but if Biden wants to like neutralize that, all he has to do is say like, hey, Charlie Bolden, do you like what's currently happening? Cool. Can you just endorse that and then neutralize that issue for me in Florida?
Yeah.
It's kind of easy for him to make it a non-issue.
Yeah, and we've talked about how space is never like an election issue. You definitely don't want it to be the hill you want to die on. You don't want to be like, this is where I'm drawing the line in the sand. Like commercial crew, yeah, that's gonna oh my god. Ugh.
But especially there has been a lot of, even in like the industry, like spacenews.com and stuff like that. There's been a lot of political talk about, Bridenstine, because he was very controversial, still is in many ways, but space-wise, almost every politician has come around to saying that he's done a good job. and that they like NASA's current trajectory and whatever else. So it's kind of interesting that it's just interesting to come up in May in an election year that has so many things to talk about that are not space.
Yeah.
I guess everybody needs me to open this wine.
Yeah, it's time to get on this. Yeah, I
switchboard.
think
Do you think this is easy, Jake, working this switchboard?
I think it's really cool though that that's actually happening. I mean, I don't know. You know me. I love a collaborative approach to everything. I like it when mommy and daddy aren't fighting, right? So, I think it's pretty nifty, and I'm proud of everybody for doing it.
So where am I watching this stream at? This seems to have. What happened to this continuous coverage thing?
SpaceX is not doing anything. I'm tweeting out a little bit here.
Orbit operations. The ends with the completion of the final co-elliptic burn. Our initial orbit today
it's weird that the
is
SpaceX one died.
This is your coverage.
Oops. Do you remember the sitting in the press room in Kennedy after Falcon Heavy and just being like, Starman? Do you remember that?
With those screens up on the wall that were showing it to just the live feed from the.
Kind of reminds me of that right now. I mean, that's what I want to be happening, but it's currently not.
Orbit brings perigee to a higher altitude.
And after a calculated time, which is based on what our orbital data shows us, the boost burn raises Dragon's orbit until it's just 10 kilometers lower than the space station.
Oh, so the NASA feed different now? That's bizarre.
Co-elliptic burn to place Dragon on orbit roughly
You know,
co-elliptic with the
one
space
thing
station.
that YouTube needs to get better is to like give me the right feed, because they're
during
so
their
bad
entire
at giving me
orbit
the
around the
like counterfeit feeds.
fourth maneuver is
Like
the
if I go into
transfer
YouTube
burn
and search
where we raise
NASA DM2, like they should just show me the DM2 feed from the NASA account, not the DM2 feed from blah 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 space balloons or whatever.
Once again maintain a constant orbit beneath station. It's just 2.5 kilometers below.
Then we get into the approach initiation and final
Wow, they're going
stages
deep here
of
on
Dragon's
this.
rendezvous with the
Are they?
space station.
I'm missing this.
This is also where we start
Do you want me to?
joint
I mean, this isn't like. You want me to
No, I
just
got it,
send
I
you
got
the
it.
feed?
I got it.
Okay.
I got
the
it.
space station flight controllers in
It'd be
mission
easier to
control
just have the
Houston.
same feed,
The
so we
team
know when to
transitioned
not
to
talk
those
over it.
integrated ops roughly 45 minutes
No?
prior
Okay.
to approach initiation.
I'm trying to put on a good show here.
Really means Dragon's getting close. During the approach, SpaceX
I'm
flight
pretty
controllers
close to what your
work in
feed is, so
tandem
it's
with
fine.
The NASA team in Houston.
And then I have
to
control over that
activate
volume
and test out
independently.
a number of systems on Dragon, including establishing
You pouring a drink there?
I'm struggling at undoing this because I keep digging in and then I look away and I
which
miss.
stands for Common Communications for Visiting Vehicles. They also set up a data
Did any of our
stream from
Europeans?
Dragon to the station,
I think
just
this was
giving
too
another
early of a
path
launch
for
to get a
Dragon
view as it came
telemetry or
over,
data
right?
about its performance to come down.
I think
No,
I
I
saw
think
that
they
this
read.
pushed it an hour too
Oh,
early.
yeah, that was Wednesday though. Wednesday was okay, but I think maybe now is earlier, right? So.
To the proper attitude,
I see our
and then
resident Dubliner in the
initialize
chat.
Navigation
So I'd like to
sensors
know
used for that very slow and methodical
went
approach
outside.
to station.
At approximately 5:24 a.m. Pacific time, that's tomorrow morning, Draco thrusters on Dragon will fire for the approach initiation burn when Dragon is about 2.5 kilometers below station and just about
You gonna get
7
up for docking,
kilometers
Jake?
behind it. This will swing Dragon up until it is
What time
about
is it at?
400 meters directly
7:29 your
below the
time?
station. And this maneuver
Yes,
will
obviously I'm
also
going to get
move
up for
Dragon
time.
inside one of those two
I don't know why I
safety
asked
zones
what time it
around the
was.
station that requires a set of go-no-go polls with the different control teams.
Oh, 4 in the morning?
The
Oh,
first zone is called the
absolutely
approach
not.
elliptic line, which is an imaginary shape measuring about 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers, which is essentially a large.
Do you think Rogozin is watching right now?
Before Dragon is given permission to move inside the
He's just
ellipsoid,
mad.
referred to by the team
Sitting in his
as
diamond-encrusted
the
Mercedes.
It is configured to be on what is known
They have
as
the
a
troll farms
24-hour
spinning up the
trajectory. This means
NASA
that
lies
Dragon lost all
propaganda, and this
control.
is all faked. And
If Dragon lost all control to its thrusters, it would be at least 24 hours before its
Go ahead, Jake.
trajectory would move inside the approach ellipsoid.
Okay, for suit doffing, we're still waiting for cabin to be below 25C and trending down. It looks
Trending
like
down.
it's on the way there, but not quite. And the second item is during the burn, we may have intermittent comm and due to pointing, and this is expected.
We're just listening.
Copy the cabin.
Are those really the Kintar tones?
Yeah, they're not good.
Good readback.
It sounds more like they're checking out at a supermarket.
Looks like it's in about 12 minutes.
Beep. Gonna turn it up, I guess.
Dragon, go for the phase burn.
We're just getting a couple of quick updates. They're still wearing those suits that they've been in since we saw them suit up in the O&C building several hours ago. Once temperature just comes down inside the cabin a little bit, they'll get to go to doff or just take their suits off.
So they do.
And you just heard
Cool.
we're less than 12 minutes now from that first burn called the phase burn. Getting back to where we're going to be tomorrow, though, once Dragon arrives at just 400 meters below the station, it's going to be what's known as Waypoint 0, and that's the first checkpoint during our approach. The vehicle can hold at 400 meters.
Something's happening on
continue
our
on
shop
if all
right
the
now.
systems check out,
What
and
do you
then we'll
mean?
begin the approach to Waypoint 1. By this point, the teams will do a
Am I missing an email
go-no-go
or
for
something?
Dragon to move inside the keep
No.
out sphere. It's another one of those
Just,
zones around the station,
memberships are
and it's an imaginary
moving
sphere
here.
with a radius of about 200 meters.
Oh, nice.
It's just another chance to confirm all the guidance, navigation, and control systems are working correctly on Dragon before we move it in really close to station. And it carries a similar requirement to the AE that Jesse talked about, where if Dragon lost all control of its thrusters, it would not go inside of that sphere for at least 4 orbits or about 6 hours instead of the 24 hours for the approach ellipsoid.
Dragon's move from waypoint 0 to waypoint 1 will swing it up and out in front of the station, pausing at a distance of approximately 220 meters. At this point, it will be on what we call the docking axis, which essentially means it is directly in front of the docking port. Bob and Doug are headed to the forwardmost port of the International Space Station, the Node 2 forward port. That is where Dragon docked last year on the Demo 1 mission, and where one
That's
of
the only port they
two
can dock at, right?
international docking adapters is located.
No, there's 2 of them.
These were installed for new commercial spacecraft flights and any other future spacecraft that also
They brought
use
both
the
up, man.
international docking standard.
Remember they
Where
put
is the other one?
IDA-3 on
The crew will
PMA-2
execute
and
their
IDA-2
second
on
annual
PMA-1
flight
because they
test,
blew one up.
Except this time they'll be in what we call
Yeah.
the near field. That just means they're close to the
There,
station.
it's
The crew will
it's
actually
that
command
end that
a
you're looking
hold
at, and
when
then
they're
it's
220 meters
it's
away
on,
from the station and conduct a series
is
of
it
maneuvers.
zenith of
so
that?
it'll be Doug and Bob at the controls.
Let's get that.
Oh, on
First, they'll
top?
fly Dragon to the center line of
I
the
think,
docking
because right now
approach, just
HTV is on the
precisely lining it
Nadir
up with that
side.
docking port. Then they'll do a number of translational
Where's that site with
maneuvers, so
the
using
current
the Draco
configuration?
thrusters on Dragon to move it around the different axes, and then they'll always be checking in with the ground on how much propellant is used. Again, translational is just you're moving back, forward, side to side.
Yeah,
When we
okay, so
refer to
right
attitude
at the
maneuvers,
forward port
it's where you're pointing.
where this Dragon's
But
going
once
to
they're
dock,
complete
so
with
right
that,
on
they'll
top
transition
from
control
there is
back
the other
over
one.
to the Dragon flight
I think.
computer to resume
Did you
that
find the
automated
current
docking.
config?
And once Dragon is only 20 meters
no.
away
Is this
from
NASA page up to date
waypoint 2,
We're just looking
that
at
the
diagrams
spacecraft
and stuff.
focuses on aligning its docking system with the docking adapter. Dragon will then fly in and make contact with the IDA, giving us what we call a soft capture. The soft capture ring then retracts until sensors indicate it's time for hooks to drive in place to give us a hard capture and firmly secure Dragon
There
to
we
the
go,
station.
I got it.
Then it's time for leak
Check
checks and
this out,
hatch
Jake.
opening, which is currently timelined to come about 2 hours following docking.
We're going to
Okay,
be here
perfect.
with you
That
the entire
helps, yeah.
way,
Yeah.
and again, it's going to be a 2-team effort.
So under
once Dragon
that,
gets
on
really
the
close.
so
why don't we jump
IDA-3
over
is
to
pointing
Gary
to space,
International Space.
and then under that, the side that's pointing to Earth
Houston,
is where
it's got to
HTV
be
just
exciting
went.
seeing that launch
Right.
and knowing that they're
And
on
is
the
that-
way
that's a
to
birthing
you. How's
port,
the
though,
team
right?
doing, Gary?
Yes. Yeah, these are the only 2 that are
These are the only 2
IDAs.
docking adapters for the U.S. side, right?
Dan, there is
And
a
then-
lot of
IDA,
movement
yeah.
from the room. We are closely
This
monitoring
audio is all
Dragon's
wonky right
a
now.
few burns that are coming up here. You both did a
The
great job
when
of,
Axiom
describing
comes
some
up
of
because
those.
they're going to go
From
on
the International Space Station side of things,
IDA-2 here,
in a
or
monitor mode,
I think they
for
docked to the
much of the
IDA.
flight. Once
But then
it
they're
gets
going to
closer
have
to the
more
docking
ports on the
portion of
back
They're
end
gonna
as
add
well.
to it,
Yeah.
yeah.
going through,
Some
that's
of those
when we'll
birthing
start, really,
So actually, I think
kicking into gear for joint
man,
operations.
I have to look up. I
Just
think they
when
might
the
move this
Dragon
whole
is,
PMA
just
to
about
the
80
other end of.
kilometers
I was
away.
going to say they just
We'll
take it
start
and
doing
move it,
our
take it
check.
off, and then
I
you
think so.
birth Axiom to it because that's like a more
That's the
structurally
communication
sound,
system.
permanent
Dragon
connection.
spent
Yes.
most of its flight will be talking
And
or
bigger,
communicating
the bigger
with
hatch.
the
Bigger,
tethered
yeah.
satellites, geosynchronous
I think
satellites,
that's all right.
around the Earth. Right about the 80-kilometer part, it'll be we'll be turning on the C2V2. That is the common communication for visiting vehicles and establishes a link between the International Space Station and Dragon. It'll be turned on for some S-band connections and testing some of the radio signals as Dragon makes its approach. Really, though, we'll be monitoring the approach through some of those final burns. Once it's in front of the International Space Station, the space station has a few things that it needs to do.
Everybody wants me to do the docking, but we're going to do it after. We'll do it after the burn.
Really
I haven't played it since the first time that I did it, and it was like,
there's still stuff going on here.
Yeah. Thrusters over to the Russian side, and really relying on those control moment gyros and the angular momentum there to keep the International Space Station nice and steady. Once it makes its approach, it'll really be up to Bob and Doug to perform those final maneuvers and into docking. Chris Cassidy, though, will be monitoring from the inside. He's got a tool called the RPOP, and he'll be monitoring the approach from the inside of the International Space Station. Chris Cassidy, through the past couple days, has been preparing the International Space Station for Bob and Doug, getting some of the beds that they'll be sleeping in on the International Space Station ready, really preparing some of the tools that he'll use for the monitoring, and then when Doug and Bob are nice and close to the International Space Station, opening up the hatch and getting some air right between the hatch where Bob and Doug will enter
just said
the
Doug and
International
Bob.
Space Station. Everything's still
style guide, man. Check that style guide out.
Style guide.
Exiting a loss of communication now and going back and getting some views from stations. Still having great views from Bob and Doug incrementally.
Bob and Doug. They said it. He's back to it.
The duration of this flight until it docks just 19 hours from now. That's it from us in here in Mission Control Houston. Dan, I'll send it back to you over in Hawthorne.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Now joining me here in Hawthorne, though, we'll get her a second to get mic'd up and everything, but SpaceX's Kate Tice, who was with us for Demo 1, we got to do the splashdown together. Now we're going to do kind of that initial flight on orbit with Bob and Doug. So, Kate, thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Tice. I'm a senior engineer here at SpaceX. Really excited to be joining you for the Demo 2 webcast here with Dan, like he said, in front of mission headquarters here in Hawthorne. So, like he was saying before, Dragon is going to be performing.
I assume people are going to just hang out, maybe watch just this stream now. You still got the other streams going.
Like,
how loud do you want this audio?
5 major burns,
YouTubers.
but at the moment, we are coming up to the first burn, which is the phase burn.
And that's going to be, again, the first firing of those thrusters.
We have more people on here now, Jake, than during the launch, so I think our plan is working out well to just hang out.
Covered by that nose cone, and also the ones around the service
section,
fine. Around
all right,
kind
cool.
of the bottom
Yeah, I
portion.
mean, I figure this is a better time to just watch the
We've been looking at our
stream.
timeline, and it's expected to last about 492 seconds is what they have it in there. So it's going to be a fairly long firing. And again, these are done just to gradually raise up the orbit. So essentially what we're doing is we're waiting
loud
until
enough,
we're
or
at
do you
the
need it
highest
louder,
point of our orbit over the Earth.
It's still,
we're
I'm looking
firing
at
the thrusters, and that
kinda,
raises up
kinda
the
low,
lowest
but
point of our orbit. And then we just circle everything out with what we call a co-elliptic burn once we get back to that other side of the orbit. So they're going to just gradually do that over the coming hours until they're at the International Space Station. And then it's time for docking.
Yeah. So, like
Why did
Dan
he look
said,
so annoyed at that?
In it, so
It's
we
like,
have a
it's
total
time
of
for
12.
docking.
A total of 12 Draco thrusters on board of Dragon. In addition to the 4 bulkhead Draco thrusters, which we'll be using upcoming, there are 12 more Dracos in the service section, which is the area along the lower part of the Dragon capsule. These will be used in every burn and are primarily there to help maintain Dragon's
dropped it a little
attitude,
bit. YouTubers,
which is
let me know.
especially important when doing the finely tuned approach into docking. Now, they can be also
Are you firing off tweets over there, Jake? I see that you're.
Yeah, I'm doing a little social media
kind of look like
it. The phase burn, and that should be about 3 minutes.
Yep. So we're just going to continue to stand by, wait for that phase burn. That'll be the first major on-orbit event since they've done all of their checkouts and the nose cone is open. And then we'll be standing by. We should be having the first manual flight test coming up in just about 50 minutes from now if everything goes well. So that'll be our first chance to watch Bob and Doug actually fly Dragon. And so, I mean, that's going to be really cool. Again, it's designed to fly itself
This
the
is a
entire
great tweet
time,
right here.
but it's the crew has
Check
the
this
ability
out.
to step in should they need it, and they'll actually be
2 minutes
stepping
before
in and
launch,
taking
Chris
control,
Cassidy
so they'll be
is over
flying
the
a
Cape.
brand new spacecraft
Love
for
that.
the very first time.
Yeah,
Wow.
something that
Love that
I
one.
like to remind my friends and family, you know, as
That's
we've
nice.
been leading
I
up
think
to
it's
this
an
launch
RT for me.
the last several days. This is a
Big
demonstration
boost
mission.
for
And
NASA
so,
there.
like that far-field manual flight test that we'll have
Yeah,
coming
thanks
up
for
a
getting the
little bit
word out.
later,
Almost everyone
you
that
know,
follows me
Bob and
probably
Doug,
already
they're
saw this
test
tweet, so
pilots.
whatever.
This kind of mission is what they live for. If I remember correctly, it was 1981. Shuttle Columbia was the last time that we tested a completely new vehicle. So it's been a long time since anybody has had the opportunity to do a test flight.
Can you believe
like
that
Bob
this
and Doug
happened
are
so
doing
easily?
today, and will be
the last
continuing to do for the next
Wednesdays
18
count,
hours.
this
So
count, no
that
problems,
opportunity for
nothing,
them
just
to-
watching
Dragon
weather.
SpaceX for suit-offing plan.
That opportunity for them to
You know, it-
take control.
Probably
of
something
the
that's
Dragon
oversaid, but
capsule if, you know, for some
SpaceX is
reason that
getting
they
pretty
need
good
to.
at this.
That is one of the test objectives.
Turns out that they are
Yeah, we're right now cabin environments
damn
are
near the
stable.
premier
Our plan is
space
to
flight
give you the
provider
go
in the
for
world.
suit-offing
Well, and
after
this is
phase burn.
this was the launch, right?
And
This
we
is the
are
one
seeing
that
so
now
far
Falcon
orbit
9 has
to
more
Draco
flight
5
heritage
is
than
a
Atlas
little
5, right?
bit a low
That's right.
temperature out of family.
Damn.
We're not
Which is
tracking
just
any media
like
concerns, but just
a
wanted to
poetic
Damn.
time to have
we are
that happen,
looking
right?
into
Unseated. That's right.
Okay, copy that, SpaceX. We'll plan on suit doffing after the burn, and then the Orbit 2 Drake 4's low temp.
Good readback.
That's a
The
terrible
crew is going to stay in their
communications
suits
tone.
until after this phase burn, which we should be hearing start in just about a minute from now.
I think they said that the temperature was out of family, for people wondering.
Getting a little hot in there or what?
It's heating up.
And like this, I mean, if you're really being
The
sensible
temperature on one of
about
the
tech-
thrusters. Sorry.
if you're being sensible about like which parts of the technology are actually being tested here, this is the crunch zone right now. This is now Crew Dragon being tested on orbit with people in it. They've never done this before, right? So this is where all the little tiny pieces that we don't talk about a lot.
right,
Temperature
should
in the
be just 10
cabin,
seconds.
pressure in the cabin, how's the airflow,
Handholds.
handholds, all those little tiny operational pieces that are made more complicated by having people in there. This is where that really gets fleshed out, right? I'm curious to know how much they're going to iterate from this. Like, what will the next Dragon? You know, you're not going to change the fundamental technological makeup
have
of this thing, but
confirmation
like,
the
yeah, little bits inside that you can
burn
change
is
pretty
in
easily. I'm really
progress.
curious
Again,
to know.
This is the first of the 5
We may
major
never hear about
maneuvers.
it,
This
but
one's called the phase burn. Using those forward bulkhead thrusters.
Here's the second
so
stage.
just those 4 Dracos at the very top underneath the nose cone to do these what we call delta V maneuvers. So just big changes in velocity that we're going to do to gradually raise this orbit up over the coming hours. So we're watching some of the screens. We're able to see the burn is in progress. It's expected to last for several minutes. So we'll just keep an ear
Oh, is that
out,
big?
make sure that everything goes well, and then we'll get a report pretty much the same time the crew does on how the burn goes. So we're really just looking for those words "good burn" after it's complete.
Like we said, this is the first of 5 major burns that we will be performing over the coming hours. So this is basically the first major step in the free flight of Demo 2.
Expected loss of signal, Diego Garcia.
This little mug is pretty good for beer, I gotta say. I don't know if Jim would approve of that, but I'm so proud of Jim. Look at that. He was so emotional in that.
He was, man. He was so emotional he didn't know what he was saying.
We're We're about
That
2
was
minutes into
that
our
was very
phase burn.
endearing. I
Everything
thought
looking good
that made me
so
like him
far.
more.
He was trying to fight through it. I thought he should have just succumbed to being emotional.
Yeah.
And Dragon
It was
SpaceX
good, though.
for
It was
awareness,
enough.
burn is nominal so far.
All right,
Burn
we
is
have
nominal
confirmation
so
that
far, Jake.
burn is nominal thus far.
We concur. Thank you.
And again, Bob and Doug have insight
Update,
into
my
how
wife's
this is
still worried
going
about the
whole
touch
way,
screens,
just
wondering
through
if there's
those
any
touchscreen
movies loaded
control
onto it.
panel, that they have right in front of them.
I think there's something
those
on there,
3
right? Didn't they say that?
Yeah,
screens,
they put
and
gravity
when we
on there.
Get
No, they
video
didn't, did
inside
they?
the cabin
That would make me so
back
mad.
As we're doing that manual flight test, you'll be able to get a really
Or that
close-up look
She said maybe they
how
should put it on at least the
have
middle
their
one.
window into Dragon
That Life
itself.
movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
And we are coming up
It's a
on
good ISS
3
success
minutes
story
into
right
our
there.
first major burn for their on-orbit path to the station.
Apparently, SpaceX has the plush dinosaur zero-G indicator on their store already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is predictable.
Hashtag marketing. $25 for that thing. And the jacket, so this is the jacket that they were wearing. The SpaceX host, Jesse, was wearing this jacket, I think.
Did you send it to me?
If you're just now joining, we are 3
send it
minutes
to you
45
now.
seconds into the phase burn. This is the first major burn. You're getting a look inside of the SpaceX Mission Control Center here in Hawthorne. This is the team that's going to be responsible for looking over Dragon and Bob and Doug on their flight.
Wow,
up
it's
to the
sequence? I didn't know that.
International Space Station.
Yeah,
We'll have
it's
some
like that
video
mermaid pillow
com
stuff, right?
with
I have
the
that.
Dragon spacecraft itself. Only when
Oh, this
we're over
jacket?
some ground
That's kinda
stations,
sweet, but-
and only when we're
It's the same
doing
as
some
this,
of these
right?
different maneuvers. But right now, we're just
Oh,
continuing
yeah, wait,
to
let me
listen
put
in.
you
That
full
first
screen. Do
burn's
that.
going well. Every single
Do
one
that
of these
thing.
burns is critical to actually making it to the International Space Station. So it seems like a pretty quiet time right now, but I mean, thrusters are firing on the Dragon spacecraft as we speak. They've been doing so for over 4.5 minutes. So we've got a little under 3 minutes to go, I think. Everything's looking good so far.
Dan, I remember during the demo one,
I like this shirt with the
splashdown
helmet,
or
but
deorbit,
this jacket seems
basically
extensive
leaving
for
the International
$100.
Space Station
Be real,
webcast.
there's nothing on it.
You know, we were going back and forth
Yeah.
saying
It's a
that
lot.
it feels like it takes forever to do anything, and it's the same deal going up to the ISS. Everything is super controlled, very precise, and very exact in terms of timing and adjustments. So,
Kate
like
is
Dan
a
said,
Penn
this
Stater,
is a
so that
critical
makes
moment,
people in my
and,
area happy.
Definitely
to
one
know.
of the first exciting
I'm
events
surprised
that
they
we
didn't make
have,
that jacket
in
like
Dragon
just straight up
as
match the
it now
spacesuit.
is
You know,
free-flying.
like
Yeah, because that would sell big
the
time.
exact same,
And
the
just
exact
to
same
let
stitches
you know,
and stuff.
anytime we have video with the crew during
sure
the
you could
flight,
buy that
we'll do our
somewhere, but-
best to bring it to you. So we're just getting a quick check-in on the teams in Mission Control and Hawthorne. I mean, these are the people behind the scenes who have done so much just to get us to this day, taking part in simulations and mission planning with the crew themselves. I mean, you're talking countless hours just to really rehearse everything for this flight before we get here, and we're here.
Yeah.
We had that successful launch, which still haven't come down from. That was incredible, and everything has gone smoothly so far. Good initial orbit. The burn started right on time, and it sounds like it's going well so far. We are just almost 6 minutes into the burn, so it should be just about a minute or so left.
Like you've heard us say many times on today's webcast, prior to launch and after launch, you know, Bob and Doug have rehearsed.
Anthony, what do you
every
think the
single
shipping cost of
procedure
that
with the
dinosaur
SpaceX
plush
team
toy to my
for
house
this
is?
mission? So everything that they're doing now,
how much
have
was the
done all
plush
day.
toy?
Despite
$30 or something?
the unfortunate scrub that we
$25.
had
25?
earlier in the week was just an
I would
extra
bet
practice
it's
test,
$35
which
to
was
ship it to your
awesome.
house.
But you know, it was nothing
Wrong.
new for them. They had
$44.93.
rehearsed everything, and same goes
US?
with this. All of the procedures
Yes.
that we are
What?
running through now, and we'll continue to run through all through the duration of the mission. Bob and Doug have they're
$45?
super familiar with what's going to happen and what they're
Jeez.
expected to do.
And we should be coming up near the end of the phase burn. Again, this is the first.
So it looks
in
like the
5.
media is
The
setting
next
up
major
for
one's going to be
a
the boost
speech in
burn
the
that's
VAB.
gonna
I think that was the
raise
one
their
that they
orbit
said the
up
president
to
was
just
supposed to
about
speak
10
at.
kilometers below the station
But nobody has
itself.
mentioned it yet today.
And so they're just going to get closer and closer in these incremental steps. And you'll
wasn't
see in this
there-
graphic that when they do these burns,
Robin is tweeting these photos
it
from
looks
in there.
like they're kind of doing a little bit of a loop-de-loop. This graph is in relation to the space station
It's got a mission
itself.
patch.
So on one axis, the Y,
thing.
you have how far below you are,
No.
and on the X, how far behind the station you still
It's got a
are.
good seat,
It's not
pretty good
perfectly
seat.
to
Is
scale.
that an SLS
Yeah.
solid rocket booster there?
Just
God.
once, just the bottom, the aft.
Nominal burn.
Nominal burn.
Nominal.
And we just heard the 2 words we were hoping for, nominal burn. So 1 burn out of 5 checked. And so that was the first one. The next one coming up is going to be the boost burn in about an hour and 24 minutes. Before they get to that, though, we are going to be looking forward to that manual flight test where they're going to be taking the reins and they're going to be taking control
Yeah,
of
what is the
Dragon
name of the
itself.
shit? We're still waiting on this.
Yeah, so
I don't think we're going to hear it
in
until
preparation for that moment.
the
I
crew
highly
downlink,
encourage you
right?
all to check out the simulation that we
Yeah, I don't
have
think so.
on SpaceX.com.
Because they're still calling it Dragon
It's
on the loop,
actually
right?
an
And that's
awesome
where I
opportunity
thought
for
it
you
might
to
come
test
out. Is it
your
like?
own skills at
But if they're willing to
steering.
just go in and just calling it
SpaceX,
Dragon, then
we
yeah.
are disabling cameras, and you are go for suit doffing and on
Oh.
orbit cabin configuration.
Cameras
Note that camera
disabled.
caps, which will be tethered, can be found in location 8, and cameras are currently configured.
They don't want us to see the space underwear.
They probably just don't want to
Yeah,
see
so
like
as
a
I
bunch
was-
of like grown men like
Okay,
struggling to
Dragon,
like,
suit doffing in work.
you know.
The cameras are off, and we can do on-orbit activation.
Copy all. And Dragon, also at your convenience, if you can confirm the gas detectors are off location 14.
Welcome.
All right.
Okay, so what's going on at this point is Bob and Doug now have the opportunity to take
This
their
is
suits
happening.
off.
This is it.
This is
They're just
referred to
doing
as
it. They're just
doffing,
flying to the ISS, man.
As donning is
Straight
actually
up flying
putting
a
the suits
Dragon in
on.
space right now.
They'll actually be able to remove those suits at this time, get a little bit more comfortable in the cabin, and they'll be putting those suits back
I like
on when
her
they
giving
get
us a
closer to the
lesson
International
on
Space
donning
Station.
and doffing,
And like I was saying
all the
before,
Dungeons and
I
Dragons
highly
fans
encourage
out
you
in the
all to check
audience
out
like me are
the
like,
simulation
yeah,
that
we
we
knew that
have
word
online, where
We've
you
donned
can
and
test
doffed
your
our
or anyone who
skills
works in
at
healthcare.
steering Dragon and
Yeah.
docking to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
That
Not gonna
website
brag or
is
anything, but I've definitely donned a suit of chainmail
sim.spacex.com.
before. I know the word. Thank you very
And
much.
like I said, you can test your own skills at Flying Dragon.
And Dragon SpaceX, one additional note, no need to reply.
Anthony, are we gonna fly the simulator
the
today
next
or
one
what?
will
we
be
should,
the
huh?
boost burn. And that's in about 1 hour and 23
Well, I'm trying to
minutes
just see what.
per your timeline.
Let me pull up the schedule again.
All right.
I don't know how to stream my screen to you though. That's gonna be.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
definitely
yeah.
give the Crew Dragon docking demonstration a try.
Let's
It's
see.
a lot
It'd
of
probably
fun.
have to be
It
like-
gives
Oh,
you a
no, I
pretty
can
good
share screen from
appreciation of
this.
just how
Okay.
difficult
Oh, you can?
it is to
Yeah.
fly and maneuver in space when you're not just thinking about going forward and backward. You have every axis imaginable that you have to worry about. Took me a couple of tries. I know those
You
first
wanna do
couple
it?
I got impatient and flew in way too quickly.
Let's see.
And then one time started to spin pretty wildly out of control. So it's probably a good thing I'm
So
down
let
here
me
and they're
see.
up there. But it's a lot of fun to check out.
Yeah, I was also really surprised at how many levels of control there are and how difficult it is to actually get them all to work in sync at the right speeds. Of everyone that I've spoken to that has tried it out first, it's unanimous. Everyone went too fast the first couple tries. I was the same.
Oh, you're
Although
doing it?
by my third
All
or
right,
fourth
let me-
try, I'm happy to
Yeah,
say
you're
that
up.
my
You're up, man.
decades of Star Fox 64 training
So can
finally
you bring
paid
yours
off.
up too?
And
Oh, that's
I
a
did.
little-
I managed to dock to the station after
That's a
practicing a few
little
times.
interesting.
SpaceX Dragon. Check.
This is the whole thing.
And
Hold on.
Dragon, you were a little broken, but I did copy you.
I might have to do you small. Hold on, wait. Give me 1 sec. I think I can do this.
How about this time? I have you here on the cabin mic.
Loud and clear
on a
on the
second.
cabin mic.
Copy that.
We have you the same.
Well, with that first
I
burn
think
nominal and out of the
yeah, I
way,
think
the next
yours
one
is
coming
gonna
up
have to
in a
be
little over an hour and 20 minutes from now.
inset in
The next
mine
thing we're really going to be
without
looking
working
forward
too
to
hard
you
at
can't
is
show your screen
manual
with your
free
main
flight.
Well,
So
you
as
can
we've
see my
said
screen
quite
right
a
now.
bit, Crew
You're looking
Dragon
at
is
it.
designed to
But I
fly
mean,
fully
as like the
autonomous,
split screen,
meaning
though,
the
right?
spacecraft does all of the
Well,
navigating and burns
yeah.
the station all on its own. There are manual override
We're not in a
controls
hurry. You
though,
can,
on
you
the
can
spacecraft
pluck around with it if you
that
want.
enables
Well,
the
give me a second,
astronauts to step in,
Do you want to put me
control
up on the
should
screen?
any
and
issues
I'll
You are
arise.
up on the screen.
And to test out those controls, Bob and Doug are about to do the first
Oh,
of
I guess I
2
need to,
planned
like,
manual
go back
maneuvers
to.
inside Dragon.
So they'll be using
I
the
have control of
touchscreen
that,
controls
just
that we've
realized.
seen at various points in the webcast. The crew display panel.
So
and they'll
while we're
practice
waiting for
putting
you to
Dragon
figure
in
that
what's
out,
known as
shout out to
LVLH
all the new
LVLH
members of the
or
Jim
local
Bridenstine fan club
vertical,
because
local horizontal
in that
configuration
role,
means that
everybody.
they'll use Earth itself as a guide
So you can get
to reorient
pins
Dragon
like
with
this
the
guy.
nose cone
Okay.
pointing forward, and the
am I
bottom of
doing it right here?
Dragon, and at the bottom of
JBFC
Dragon,
pins.
at least
You get a
from
membership
where
card
Bob
if you
and
do
Doug
it.
are sitting,
This is what the
the
membership
Earth will
card
be
looks like.
directly below them. So think of
And
it
it's
as,
got
they'll basically be
on the
putting
back you'll see a
Dragon in the
print
same
run with
orientation as an
your
airplane flying over
unique
Earth.
membership number.
And
That's what you
they'll
get.
be taking this manual control.
You can also get
but
these great
they'll
mugs.
Stop one step
Look at this.
before actually sending the command of their
It's great for
attitude
beer. It's great
adjustments
for
to Dragon's flight
Diet Mountain
computer.
Dew.
So the flight computer
So,
itself.
and
All
it's
right, I think I'm
welcome to-
ready.
Flying Dragon, and
And
as
I
soon as
really
they're
appreciate
done,
it.
they'll hand control back over. The flight
think
computer
I've-
will reorient Dragon.
You ready? You
and
think
it will
so?
I
continue
think
on
I'm
its way.
prepared
It's gonna
enough.
fly in a
This
whole
is
bunch
good
of
enough. It's
different
kind of janky.
attitudes on the way up to
Here,
station.
is this good enough?
Hey, there we
Unlike the
go.
space station,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
space station pretty much only flies in
And
that
then I
LV,
switch
LH,
here
pretty much
and
always
do
going the same direction. But that's
location.
because it's got very big joints for the solar arrays
Oh,
to
but I should
rotate
do.
around. For
I can do
Dragon,
better
they'll
though.
have
Hold
to
on.
maneuver the trunk to charge the batteries, maneuver to sometimes communicate with the different satellites.
Folks,
depending
this
on
is
what
what you get.
antennas they're using.
This is the kind of
And so this
excellent
LVLH will just
production
be
you
a
get
test for this
if you
manual
become a
flight
member
test.
of either
Like I
patreon.com/Miko
said
or
before, there's that
patreon.com/WeMartians.
where you can check it out for yourself.
We are only. It is your support that
definitely
makes
get a
this
chance to go
dual
pilot
screen
Dragon. We're going to be seeing that tomorrow
somewhat janky. Hold on, let me adjust that a
It was
little bit.
surreal when we got to see it on demo 1 with Dragon.
Hold on, I
coming
gotta
in. We've got
let me
some
crop
great
your
cameras
left
right
and
on
right
that
a little
docking
bit.
port where Dragon's going to be pointed. It's going to be really exciting to see them come in for that final approach.
If I adjust my screen at all, is
no
that better?
response required, but we are going to be enabling branch 2 of the helium system. This is expected to be done on orbit to protect for a scrub.
I'm just doing some final tweaks here, Jake. Give me a second.
All right, sounds good.
Trying to have us adjusted in here. Really good. Now this is pod racing. Who said that?
And Dragon Space, just clarification, this will get us back into the
All right.
expected on-orbit config.
There we go. A little better.
Dragon copies.
All right. Are we doing this?
Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to tweet it out to get some
Oh,
extra
cool,
listeners, viewers. And then I think, so we're going to race? Is that what you want to do?
I don't know. You apparently wanted to race.
I think we should race. Because I've been drinking and you've been drinking, and we're all like hopped up on adrenaline.
And there's nothing on the rundown until a half hour from now.
we got a while for another burn. So we're gonna
When's the
race.
last time that you did this?
I did this the day it came out and then never looked at it again.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try and do it with keyboard
that
shortcuts
you
this
told.
time.
Yeah, I did it the time that you told me about the keyboard shortcuts, and I never did it again.
Okay. So I'm gonna put this up here. So should we have? Oh, I'm gonna put a poll on Twitter too. Who will win? Who will dock to the ISS first? And
Should I put some text up here?
Is there? How can we show who's who?
I got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
New text. This is high quality. High quality production. New text.
Okay, so I put the poll up. It is an hour-long poll. I'm going to put that in the Discord so they have it, and in the YouTube chat so they have it.
We have Miko.
They're betting on me. I don't want to make you feel
Center
bad,
line. Give me in the Miko font.
I was gonna say this font is not gonna work for you.
And then
Dragon SpaceX prop reconfiguration is
Ooh,
complete.
the pole is neck and neck right now.
And then we'll do some new text. Text 2 goes over here. What font would you like there, Jake?
Should I see it on my screen? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Impact. I love it.
What is the We Martians font?
Your regular like script one is like Avenir.
Just regular Avenir?
If you have Avenir next, that's probably fine too. Yeah, that's the one I use a lot.
Bold?
No.
No bold.
Yeah. No bold.
This is, once again, patreon.com/WeMartians. Patreon.com/Miko. This is the kind of stuff you get.
Yeah. This is what I meant when I said going pro. I wanted to drink beer and play video games on the internet.
Is the stream still... Okay, they're still doing stuff. All right, I think we're set.
Okay, so where did I...
People are betting on YouTube that I go full Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. So what are we doing? Counting down?
When we hit begin, does the clock start right away?
I think so. But we're doing it at the same time, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, so count us down, and then we'll go on go. Like 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, we'll do the 3, 2, 1, and then go on. Click begin on go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, look at this. Okay, what are these?
I forget the controls.
Okay, so there is some
Wait,
control.
is it... What's forward? E?
So WASD is your attitude, and then your arrow buttons are your...
I'm going for it
forward. Here. Oh no, that's attitude. Okay.
Oop, oop. My keyboard's going nuts. Riveting content here.
Oh my god. I don't remember the controls. I've been drinking. Oh my god. Okay, so that's pitch. Yeah, good.
Oh shit, I gotta go a lot left.
Oh my god. You're doing way better than me. No fuel constraints on this, right?
Oh wait, this way. I hope not. I'm just trying to go for the win. I'm not really paying attention to you, so I'm stressing myself out probably more than I need to be. Oh Jesus, I'm going so fast right now. What did I do? This got away from me, Jake. I worried myself. Oh, I think I had my... What am I doing? What's even happening here?
Oh my god, I'm going so fast.
What am I doing? Now I'm trying to like retrace my steps. Like, how did I get here?
Oh my god.
What happened when I got all the way down here? Well, that's one way to go about it. Oh, you know what? I think I W is like translate vertical.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I flipped it in my head for a second.
And if you're just now tuning in, you missed the launch, so you might want to head online.
Oh my
Thanks,
god.
Dan.
I'm gonna crash.
Did you hear Dan?
But Bob and Doug, Bob Bank and Doug
He said if
Hurley
you're just
are two
tuning in
NASA
now, you
astronauts
missed the
flying
launch.
through outer space right now after that successful launch. just
Oh
a
my
little
God,
while
I'm gonna
ago.
die.
We're going to be bringing you this ground track that you're looking at. You're going to be able to see exactly where Dragon is over planet Earth. And you're going to see a number of different lines. So
You know what? I
usually
keep
3
thinking
at a
that
time. So what's
the
that
y-axis is
showing
inverted.
is each of those orbits
Yeah, me
around
too.
planet Earth for the Dragon spacecraft. And it looks like it's wavy, but that's because you're taking a globe and then stretching it out flat. And so that's why it looks like, so it is a straight line.
We both
if
got it
you're
under control.
actually
We got a little
looking at
carried
it
away
around
right
the
off the
globe.
bat, but I see that we're
So
both
with
under
that
control now.
on-time launch, they've already traveled well away
What's
from
the
Kennedy
what's the
Space
roll
Center. They're
shortcut?
already
I haven't figured that one out. That's why I got away from me, because I was trying to figure it out, and then I realized I wasn't paying attention to anything else.
Continue to raise their orbit over the next 19 hours. They were successful in doing so with their first burn, the phase burn. That was done.
I keep thinking that the axes are inverted.
For the drying of both suits about 4.5 minutes ago, if you guys want to back us up.
Copy. Timer started for suit drying 4.5 minutes ago. We'll back you up.
And that was the Demo 2 commander, Doug Hurley, talking to the core.
Shit, Jake's coming in here. I might have to pick up my pace a little bit.
The crew has doffed or gotten out of their spacesuits that they've been in for several hours now, and they kind of hang it up, almost like hanging up your clothes just to dry. And they're going to continue to they have a timer just to know when they're fine to just pack them away. They're not going to have to put those suits on again until tomorrow when it's time to dock with the space station.
What's your problem?
Quick, I want to comment on the view on the right-hand side of your screen.
Damn y-axis.
If Bob and Doug were looking out the window,
Shit, I gotta pick up the pace. I gotta do
right now. That's
a hover
live
slam.
Shot, from Dragon and with Planet and with Planet Earth rotating below it.
Yeah, they're going to continue to make their way.
Oh my God!
Over the next couple of hours, we have a number
Who's
of
got
items
it?
coming up for them, though. We are still counting down to that
Who's got it?
manual flight test. That should be coming up
Boom.
within the next.
Oh, fail? What happened?
And that's going to be Bob and Doug actually taking control of the Dragon spacecraft for the very
What'd you
first
I made
time.
contact
So that's
with
gonna
it.
be really exciting. Hopefully we'll get
Too
some
fast.
video inside of the cabin. We'll have
Rotation
video
and
inside
speed
the
is what
cabin
I said.
anytime,
That's what
that
mine
the crew
said.
is ready for us to go
Oh
on
man.
board. Anytime we have connection through ground
Oh, man.
SpaceX's worldwide network of ground
Nice.
domestic
We nailed it.
spacecraft.
Yeah, just real quick,
I feel
wanna
good
correct
about
myself
that
now I
showing.
can see the image a little bit.
Because we
It's
both,
actually a live
I think
shot
we
from
both felt the
International Space
pressure,
Station.
I thought it looked
like immediately,
Yeah, for a second I thought it was the Dragon
and then
there.
brought it back under
That
control.
is
I gotta
the
get
ISS, so
this
that's
lowered
where
forward.
Bob and Doug are heading.
That's what I did. I was like, I slammed forward as fast as I could. I'm like, look, I just gotta get the ship
what
moving
is a
forward, and
Yep.
I'll correct all the attitude and position afterwards. I just need to get that head
Exactly what I
Like
did.
we've been saying, there are
And then
5,
we realized we both
main
swung under
burns.
the
We've completed
station.
the first of those 5 main burns, and they will be going to sleep in a while. Well, they'll eat
I did fail
to
faster.
sleep
Brad
in.
is correct.
That sleep portion of the mission is actually really important
That
because
was
we
great.
need them to be really well rested and comfortable whenever
Starting to
they
get the
start doing
AirPod
the
discomfort
approach phases,
crossing over
Switch
that
to the
line.
headphones, baby.
So they get scheduled 8 hours, if I remember correctly, and
They're probably gonna run out of battery soon
you
anyway.
can see whenever
Speaking of
we
which,
saw
let me
the-
do a
had the
camera
views
battery
inside
check.
of Dragon earlier, you can see that
SpaceX Dragon 4.300
Still good.
is complete.
Switch
Copy.
the output.
4.300 complete.
So yeah, that's Bob
Go.
and Doug just getting the cabin configured. They're out of their suits.
The
getting
sim
a
is
little
super
bit more
easy if you
comfortable,
orient the
and then
capsule
hopefully
first
we'll be
and
getting
then
that
move forward.
manual flight
Yes,
test in
Noah,
just a
thank you
little
for
while.
that good tip
Yeah,
on how
well,
real
you know,
spacecraft
it's
dock
cool.
to the
I know that
ISS,
you can go to sleep
not
on a day
to
like today,
drunk guys
but
racing.
I
That's
also
the
know
Yeah,
that they were
exactly.
as calm and collected as they were. So again, you're dealing with some special people when you're
Yes,
flying
Ben.
somebody into
Anthony's using a
space.
real camera right
For
now.
sure.
He's
Yeah.
trying
Oh,
out
you
some
weren't here for
new
the
technology.
our views inside
Look at
the
this.
cabin
Zoom,
earlier,
zoom,
they
zoom.
will be sitting.
Is it like a
in
DSLR? Is that
sitting
what that is?
position while they're sleeping.
about this.
Whereas
I know.
on
I'm,
Are you
I'm
doing
getting
content?
space
Yeah,
station,
This is
they
refreshed
have
content,
a
okay, for the
flag
listeners that just popped in.
It is
if they
a
get strapped in. So
a
the
Canon
sleeping
mirrorless camera.
situation that they have for,
It is a Canon
their ride on
RP
Dragon
that I
is
have recently
definitely a little
purchased.
different than,
I
what they'll have on
have
their
always been a
longer
Canon
stay
man.
on the International
Yeah.
And then I
Space Station.
tried a Sony one last summer on a trip. I did a rent-a-camera to try a Sony mirrorless, and I just couldn't get down with the Sony stuff. So I said, you know what, let's do the Canon one. All right. Any updates on this speech that's happening?
We have a live view from something. What is that?
This is the ISS.
just to
Oh, is
walk
it?
you through
Yeah.
quickly, this is we're looking live
Yeah, I
right
guess
now
it's not really
from
anything.
Bob and Doug's destination, the International Space Station. They are scheduled to dock tomorrow, with that initial docking coming at 7:29 a.m. Pacific time, so over here on the West Coast.
Oh, I was like, why is he
it'll
giving
be
it in Pacific time? Then I realized he's in
10:29
LA.
a.m. over on the East Coast. It's about a 19-hour ride. It'll be 19 hours and 7 minutes if they dock directly on time from launch all the way to that docking.
That's not too bad of a morning for me.
Take 5 successful burns to get them in close proximity to the
Pretty
International
regular.
Space Station, followed by a number of smaller maneuvers during that rendezvous and that final approach sequence.
I'm so excited that it
gonna
launched
be a
today
pretty
because it
lengthy
just
trip for them to get there.
my
We'll be
weekend
starting
plans are
off
just
from
so
Kennedy
perfect
Space
now.
Center just a few less than an hour ago, I think, at this
It was
point.
otherwise going to be a
Time is
lot of
starting to all flow
navigating
together. We're
plans
already
to
moving
do
in
other
excess of
things.
17,000 miles an
Yeah, and
hour
it's like
as they
really
continue
nice
to
here
raise
this
their
weekend.
orbit and
Oh,
chase
is
down
it?
the
Like,
space
yeah,
station.
this is like a really good go outside kind of day.
I'm going to go hiking on Monday, I think.
On Monday.
Yeah, I took Monday off.
And once they
Just in
get there,
case?
they're going to be joining
Yeah.
the Expedition
In case I was
63
doing docking
crew
coverage
already
Monday morning.
in progress.
Oh,
There's
right, 'cause it would've-
NASA
yeah, that's right.
astronaut Chris Cassidy's the current commander. He's on the right there of that photo. And then he was joined right now by 2 Russian cosmonauts, Anatoly Ivanishin and Ivan Wagner. They've been on board.
All right,
since
I'm gonna
the
step
launch
away
from the
Ivanishin?
Baikonur Cosmodrome.
I'm going to step away for 2 minutes.
Several
See ya.
weeks ago.
Can you hold stream?
Right
I
now,
sure
only
can.
3-person crew
Okay.
on board.
You're already
That's
outta
one
here.
of the major reasons we wanted to get this commercial crew capability online, because we're no longer flying 4 Soyuz spacecraft a year. We're only doing 2 a year, and so we need these commercial spacecraft, Dragon now in orbit, and eventually the Boeing Starliner to begin carrying larger crews up to orbit. So they're going to be joining them. Chris Cassidy, the current commander of the space station, is going to welcome Doug and Bob on board. They'll be residing inside what we call the USOS segment. It's
So
kind
we've
of
got
half of
docking
the
coming up.
Dragon
Oh,
SpaceX
it
for
says
suit drying, low priority.
suit what? Drying? Did you say suit drying?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we just wanted confirmation that you are drawing suit 1 or suit 2 and seat 1, just because we're not seeing telemetry from umbilical.
Yeah, that's affirmative. Suit, my suit from seat 2 is in seat 1, and it's hooked up, and we've verified airflow.
Copy. Thanks.
Yeah, Nolan, we still don't know what name they
And at this
called.
point,
what
the
they're
crew
calling
is
this.
out of their suits, and they're drying them, so they're actually reconnecting them to the umbilicals of the seats that they're not using.
Screwed up my shot when
You
Jake's
heard
making
them
me show
refer
off
to
this new
seats
zoom
2
feature.
and 1. If you were looking inside the Dragon capsule, it goes seats 1 through 4 from right to left, so it's a little backwards. Doug Hurley is in seat
So what's everyone
number
thinking
2,
here
that's
for the next
commander's seat. Bob
little
Bank in
bit?
seat 3, that's
You
the
can just
pilot's
keep the
seat for
stream
this
on
flight. And
somewhere?
obviously, nobody in seats 1 and
Keep
4
it on
on this
NASA
way
TV
uphill,
on some
but
screen in
they
your
are
house, 'cause
getting their suits connected to the umbilicals, which can provide.
I actually wonder if they
communications
have
when
a
the
shot
astronauts are
off
actually
of
in the
Dragon.
suit, but you can actually flow air into the suit through that umbilical, and they're just using that to dry it out. Now that the crew's not wearing them and they're comfortable on orbit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Have we
that
seen a shot
despite
from the
that,
outside of Dragon yet?
Airflow going through the
Kinda
suits
find that
throughout
interesting
the
that they don't
entire
have
time of leading up to launch and
something
launch
out there.
itself. Can imagine it's still, with the adrenaline.
It's interesting. Yeah, they
and
haven't had a
their
shot
hearts pumping,
from
I
Dragon to
imagine
the
It might
outside.
have gotten a little sweaty in there anyway.
Yeah, doing a little bit kind of like hanging your
Hello.
laundry in space.
Oh, you're back.
almost, But they're
I'm
they're
back.
going to be out of these suits for the next several hours. They'll be
this
able
is
to
the
get a
one I
little
want.
bit more comfortable.
Jake, they still haven't had
in
a
the
shot
Dragon
from the
capsule.
outside
They
of
will be
Dragon.
wearing them again when it's time to dock, though.
Are they going to have a
Typically,
camera
they're
on the
not
outside, though?
Suit
I don't
up
know.
Anytime they're in a dynamic
I feel like they
operation,
should.
So that's obviously a launch. Anytime you're docking or undocking from the
I
spacecraft.
don't know, man.
and
That's
then
like
definitely
From the
I
trunk,
on
like
that re-entry
anything.
and landing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you've heard us say before about
Out the
these
window?
suits, they
It's like a
are
disposable camera then, though,
custom-made
right?
for Bob
We'll
and
have a
Doug,
camera in the
so there's
inside
really
facing out
no
the window.
chance that they might
give me
be
anything.
Yeah,
able to
that
put the
that one
other
I'm.
ones on,
I think
like their
I
name
think
is
the
still on it
astronauts are going to
for
set that
obvious
up. I
reasons,
think that's
but,
why they haven't done
these
that.
Why
suits
not build
are
that in,
highly
though?
intelligent
Like
and
into the
highly
frame of the
functional.
window.
So even
Because
though
The
there's
inside
something
panel.
special
will be
about
more
a
comfortable
person
out
holding
of
the camera.
suit,
You just want them to have a
they have
Hasselblad.
said that the suits themselves are pretty nice to sit in, and as
Do you
can
not
see
admit
from
that there is something
today's
special about a human holding a camera.
The launch
Yeah, well, you can do that also.
I want them to do the old like Apollo thing.
So,
where, like,
oh, here we are outside the window.
Custom made for each individual
Flick it at each other.
made here
like cranking up the
Hawthorne,
70 millimeter or
California.
whatever. The
Same building that we build the rocket, and same building that we build the spacecraft.
No, James, this is
pretty
from the
cool to
ISS
see
they're showing.
of that piece of hardware itself now in action, finally in Dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about how the suit is almost like a mini spacecraft itself. And we always say that when we talk about when crew
Any
members
official
go out
cool
for
photos
spacewalks,
from the launch? Good
because
question.
that suit is kind of self-contained to have all of the breathing
been on
air,
Twitter,
things like
Jake?
that, just in case
not very
they
well.
need it.
Let me do a look.
These flight suits
literally
on Dragon,
right now,
they're gonna
Spaceflight
be
Now.
most
Yeah, I
needed
do that.
if you have a
Photos.
depressurization, so just
pull
a
these
loss
up.
of cabin pressure.
Why don't you just load up
inside
your
of
Twitter
Dragon,
window
they're
and we'll
able to
show a
be
little.
in their suits. They can get pressurized nitrox
their
or
third
even
one's
pure
good.
oxygen. If they are depressurized,
where did
and
it go?
Their suit will be at a lower pressure because if you
Just
put
go
the
to
suit
Twitter.
up all the way to 14
Just go to Twitter.
psi, it'd be kind of what we look at when
Twitter.com.
you talk about wearing the large EMU, the great big white suit that we wear for spacewalks. Pressurizing that all the way up to atmospheric pressure.
Emily's got a good
Be
video from the
you
press
in
site,
a giant
too.
balloon where you probably wouldn't be able to move your arms very easily.
Calendrelli?
So when you're in a suit that's
Spec.
pressurized, you're typically at a much lower
M-spec.
psi.
Is she just
I'm
M-spec?
not sure what the
EM-spec,
SpaceX suits
yeah.
are at,
EM-spec.
but our EMUs are at about 4, and then you have to up the oxygen content in what you're breathing just to make sure you're still getting enough. So they'll be
Is
able
it
to
playing? Why
float
isn't
pure
it doing?
oxygen into
I'm on
those
Twitter.
into those suits if required.
Nice.
Yeah,
She went
so
out.
just
She
as a
went out
quick
to the
update
lawn.
In case if
Yeah.
you are
That's
just
where we
joining
should have
us,
been.
Yeah.
We have obviously.
Why did they have
lifted
look at
off.
this? They have a fence up
Bob and Doug
by the.
are now on their way to
Didn't they have that before?
International Space Station.
No, because remember we went right up there.
Probably about
We were
an
way on the
hour
other
and a
side,
half
though.
into
I know,
what
but I
will
don't
be
think they have a fence up.
19-hour journey.
Maybe one
in
reporter
chasing
fell
down
in
the
the
space station.
water.
Maybe there's a
And,
gator
we
gator
are
incident.
approaching what
Gator
is known
issue,
as the
yeah.
far field manual
Nice
flight
little video
test.
there.
And this is basically the opportunity that they'll have to take back control of the Dragon capsule and just perform the ability to pilot it manually.
No.
Dragon is a
So it
fully
looks like
autonomous
if you are
spacecraft,
in-
meaning that it drives itself.
There's some good
It is
shots.
highly intelligent. The
oh,
flight
this is
computer
a
makes all the calls
later thing I'm looking
using
at.
all the inputs.
Oh, that looks
from
good. Yeah,
the
that
sensors
that
and
shot's
the
good.
data
That's a nice
there.
one.
that it receives. And so realistically, this is meant to be a fairly hands-off flight to the International Space Station. But in the event that for some reason Bob and
John.
Doug need to,
Talking about
or
John.
whichever astronaut is on
John
board,
Krause.
John Krause.
Crew Dragon might need to take manual control. The far field manual flight test, which we have coming up in just a few minutes actually, is what we will be doing to basically complete the test objective
Oh, yeah. He's got some
for this
great ones
mission,
here.
saying
Let's see
yeah,
these.
that is absolutely possible to do.
Yeah, it's right there in the name. It's a demonstration mission 2, which on demonstration mission
Lovely.
1 we didn't have crew members, but did a lot of tests of Dragon's
that's a nice
maneuverability, even testing.
I haven't seen
on
a good
the
like
port
worm
when we were
shot
on
though,
that
have
final
we?
approach and docking.
The worm
And
was
so
positioned
Bob and
wrong.
Doug
I'm
are really
convinced.
just on board to really put it
Should have been
through
on
the
this
ringer
side.
to put
Yeah.
all the
But they
systems
paint-
through
they paint
and
the other
check
side.
them out that would require a crew being on board, because this will be that final test before NASA looks to certify SpaceX
put the flag
to begin those
over it?
regular
What's
crewed
happening?
flights to the space
What is
station.
this?
So we're talking about those 6-month to year-long missions.
Oh, 'cause he did
with crew
this
members
shot.
living and
He
working
did
in
like a
space.
crazy threw a
And
flag
we're
shot.
looking at doing that later this year.
I'm not into
as
that.
Soon as
No,
we're
that's a little
wrapped up
much,
with
John.
Demo 2, as soon as a month after Bob and Doug
I
return.
appreciate the
Pump the
creative
brakes, John.
experimentation,
three
but
NASA astronauts
that's
and
a
one from
road
our
you don't need to
partner
keep going
agency,
down.
JAXA, the Japanese
One of those
Aerospace
is enough.
Exploration Agency.
John
So
Krause
things
is
aren't slowing
VV
down.
Young.
We're just at the very
He
start
is
of this
VV Young.
mission. It's hard to think that we're already thinking forward to the next one this quickly. But
VV
that's
Young,
just the nature of the business right
thank
now.
you,
Things are definitely picking up in
Zayfoid.
space.
Yeah, as
Beetle Brox.
as SpaceX
That's,
engineer myself,
that's a good
you know,
meme that
part
we're
of
gonna
my
keep.
job
We're gonna
is
keep alive.
to help NASA come in.
I never
and
know what to
Keep
say
that
to
one
people to
going.
say like your voice
we're
doesn't go with your
building.
face. Like,
So
what do I do with
I
that
have
info?
been inside of
thank you.
the capsule
You're
that's now in
welcome.
space.
Like,
I've been
good
inside
or
the
bad,
capsule
I don't
that,
know,
as
and I
Jessica
can't do anything about it
Jensen
anyway.
mentioned earlier in the
Anthony,
webcast,
did my
earlier
voice
this
go with
week
my
was
face
just
when
in
you
the
first saw
Dragon
me?
Clean room, which is down the hallway from us here.
I think
which is now
I
in a
think I
different
might just
building
always look up
for it to
pictures of
complete
people, so I know what they look like.
But
right away.
I think so, yeah.
You saw that Reddit thread that I was like, "Hey man,
actually, you know what? I think
check out my podcast too." And then you were like, "Who is this guy? What does he look like?"
Well,
I'm trying
to think when I discovered
the astronauts. I still
We
remember
Martians.
hearing
We have that. We have.
I know.
That.
I know when we did, but what episode it was?
Pre-flight,
it was early, man.
All different.
But there was one early one that I was like, oh, maybe that's
as well as
maybe
Bob
that's
and Doug.
him.
And I just got chills.
Oh, I think it
whenever
was
I
your
heard that
4th
tone
episode.
of them communicating back and forth to mission control.
For a solid chunk of
Well,
time,
it
I
was
thought
great
that
to see them get off the ground today.
this
and
photo
hopefully we see them in
was
just
you.
about 10 minutes or so doing this flight test. So we're going to continue to follow along again.
I don't know
here
why
for
I
the
thought that.
duration.
I think this was maybe the time that
SpaceX
we
for
interacted.
timeline.
Hopefully we get a call on how quickly we get that test right here.
I have the I saved it because I'm probably the Wee
Reddit
Martian
thread.
Off-Nominal historian.
Go ahead.
Okay,
So
just for
let me-
awareness, we have
let me
the
show
manual
you
flight
this.
demonstration here in about 10 minutes. As soon as that is complete, you
Can you
have
show
a
that?
go to step into your build
That
3.
was awful. What's
and
going
just
on
to
there?
be aware that the boost burn is at 2142, so those 3 events are going to be pretty close in succession.
What 3 events? I heard 2 events there.
Thanks for the update. Yeah, we were looking at that. I think we're just about changed, so we'll give you a go to come back on board here in about maybe 5 minutes or so.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Copy that. We'll be standing by.
You wanted me to pull
and
something
also,
up?
at your discretion, you can also destow the floater
Just
camera.
show my screen.
Oh, is that,
this
is that what
just
we're doing?
Prior to 2238.
Nice.
Can I zoom on this? Yeah. This is the
All right,
Wee
so there,
Martians
you heard it.
main engine
Copy
cutoff origin story. Look at this. This
Should
is
be
you
joining Bob and Doug
posting
back
about your new podcast.
Nice.
The time's no good anymore, but this
Right,
is like
this is a
April
screenshot. It was
2016.
29
You're like-
upvotes. Nice. Huge,
Yeah.
huge numbers I was pushing.
So then you were like, "Hey, I do space stuff. I like it."
Yeah.
This is your short 10 to 20 minutes. How's that going?
It didn't work out.
Oh, it's just the best
Well,
part
so
of it.
you know the origin story of the name, right?
Yeah. It's like well, you tell it. It's your
I was originally planning that every episode would be shorter than the time to space shuttle main engine cutoff, 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think my first episode was way longer than that.
Yeah. And you love the ULA SpaceX Blue Origin interface. That's perfect. That's great.
Yeah, well, I
and
started
then-
right on the week of Space Symposium, and there was all this stuff going on, so that was like
Right.
perfect time. Yeah.
Huh. And so then some people were like, "Cool, looking forward to this," blah blah blah. And then this guy at the bottom.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I'll also do a show. I've just started recently.
Yeah, that was hashtag marketing right there.
Did I even
But it worked.
interact?
No. And look, 1 point, and I uploaded
It was
it,
you.
so you didn't even upload it.
I never came back to the thread. Is Irish Screen Man? Is that Kieran?
I don't know. Kieran, if that's you, let us know.
It takes a lot of energy, which means a lot of fuel, which can mean a lot of time to catch up to another spacecraft already in orbit.
Pat is worried that he's the only person commenting on YouTube while we're responding to a lot of things on in Discord. It's not Kieran.
Bob and
Damn.
Doug are only going 250 miles. So that's basically the distance
Anyway,
from.
so that is
Kate Tice throwing
to
major
San
shade
Francisco.
at this
So
flight right
when
now.
You think about
That's a
even though it
lovely,
does
She said
take
Bob
them
and
a
Doug
long
are
time to
only
catch
flying
up to the
250 miles
International
up.
Space Station. It's because it's going so fast,
Bunch
and they
of
have
losers.
to go around planet Earth
Tell
a
that to
number of
Bezos.
times in order to chase
Isn't
it
that going to be
down.
great when
But in
Axios is flying those? Or
Axiom.
They are
Axios,
Axiom.
the news
Axiom.
organization, yes.
about 250 miles, which I believe is
No,
a
it's the
pretty
JavaScript
remarkable
API
distance for everybody in
calling
terms of
library is
understanding
what it is.
just
So
how far
yeah,
up they go.
just drifted into my other life there. Yeah, it's gonna be great when Axiom is flying those like Gemini flights or whatever they're supposed to be, up to like 1,100 kilometers or so.
Hopefully we see
Oh yeah.
For is it Space Adventures or whatever that's doing
Yeah,
them?
it's not Axiom. No,
I thought
who is doing that? I think it's
Oh, no,
Space Adventures.
Space Adventures. Sorry, yeah.
That timer for the suit drying.
Mixing them all up, but the company that's flying the Dragons, Space Adventures or whatever it's called.
There we
This
go.
one.
Yeah.
Dragon, go ahead.
Oh wait, I'm not showing anything. This one.
Yes.
Timer shows about 23 minutes for suit drying, and we're holding in 5 Bravo decimal 7. If you're
Let's talk
happy
about
with
suit
us shutting
drying.
off the suit fan.
That's just sounds gross.
Yeah, we concur on the timer, and we are go for you to shut off the suit.
Sweat, mostly. A little bit of blood, a little bit of pee. suit trying. Yeah, I'd be sweating my. Yeah.
Maybe that's what Bob was doing with his hand. Sweating here.
Getting all the sweat out. Oh man, someone peed my pants. Yeah. I censored it for YouTube, Tyler. Sweating my face off. What is the situation for the suits? Is it a catheter or is it a diaper? Like, what's the...
I think it's a diaper.
We should be
I think
just about 5 minutes
I think
or
it's
so
mags.
from that manual flight test. Again, we're just
Maximum
standing by,
absorbency
hopefully
garments.
getting those views back inside Dragon.
Because that would be like pretty uncomfortable, right?
If you are just now joining us, we did launch successfully.
Yes.
3:22 p.m. Eastern time. So it was a
like you can probably do some stuff to make it better, but at the end of the day, you're just peeing your pants, right?
First of our 5 major burns to
right?
get to the International Space
Correct.
Station. That
yes.
burn
right.
being done
I just wanted to make sure I
successfully
understood the science.
We're standing by for the manual
what was
flight
happening
test
on
coming
there.
up in the next couple of minutes.
Catheter would be more uncomfortable
You guys are welcome back on board
during like start and stop, you know, like putting it in, taking it out. But I think once it's in, it's pretty. You don't even really notice it, do you?
Okay, so that was Bob and Doug.
Themeless.
Giving the okay for us to turn the cameras back on inside of Crew
All right, so they're
Dragon.
coming back to the.
I did hear in one of the previous
They're coming back.
commands earlier that.
And Jay, just a quick tag up. The detectors are all confirmed off OFF.
Copy, confirmed off.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be pretty disappointed if the
I did
19-hour
hear
live stream
earlier
is just
that
this
they
shot of the
got
ISS solar
okay
array.
To, unstow
I'm gonna be
the
annoyed.
floater cam, so maybe if we're lucky, we might get a little
the
bit
DM1
of,
coverage was
hello
better.
from Bob and Doug. Fingers crossed.
Wasn't it?
It's going to be incredible to see this flight
During
test,
the whole
though,
test?
because I mean, imagine if you were sitting in the cockpit of.
I don't know
like
that.
an
I mean, it
F-18
was at
the
like
first
2
time
a.m.
somebody
So
flew it
I
or
watched the
something. I mean,
launch.
these are test
and then
pilots
I didn't
test
watch all
piloting a
night.
spacecraft, and we're going to be looking right over their shoulder, and that's just.
So I don't
it's
know
an
what this
incredible
portion was
feel.
like.
I'm really excited to see this.
Did they stay
and to
live the
just
whole
really
time?
Be with them their
I
whole
don't know.
flight up to space. They'll have this, and then we'll have another burn coming up in a little less than 50 minutes from now. That'll be the second one. Will be a boost burn to really raise up that orbit as they begin to chase down the International Space
Do
Station.
we have any idea of
Then
what
for the
orbit
rest of
they're
the
in
day,
currently?
The crew doesn't have a whole lot. They'll have their evening meal, which we'll go through in a little while, and then it'll be time for
No.
bed. They'll have about 8 hours scheduled for sleep, and then they'll be able to wake up tomorrow and do that final approach and docking to the International Space Station. So it's already been a long day for them. They've only got a few more things, and then they'll be able to kind of kick back and enjoy outer space for a little bit.
Yeah. And like we said before, this far-field manual flight test that's coming up is the opportunity for them to is the opportunity for Bob and Doug to take manual control of the Dragon spacecraft, just to demonstrate that it is possible to do so in the event that they need to steer it themselves. This is a demonstration mission, so this far-field manual flight test is actually one of our big test objectives for this mission. So that'll be really exciting to see. But touching on the point that Dan said, which by the way, that test should be coming up in a.
And Dragon SpaceX for awareness.
Kieran's asking what happened to Spaceplane Kistler after their bankruptcy.
Dragon copies. Welcome aboard.
All right, so that was the confirmation.
That's a good question.
We should be getting camera views inside the cabin once again.
I actually don't know where they ended
so
up.
We can see they're looking at their touch screens, preparing for this.
There's that
manual
shirt sleeve
test
environment.
coming up
There we
in
go.
about 30 seconds.
Couple of bros in a spaceship right there. Look at that. This is what Jake and I wish we were.
Yeah.
These two guys.
Totally.
What a sight. I love that we can see right over their shoulders. We can see the screens.
It would have been amazing if it came up and it was
It's
the
just
movie
incredible.
already on
If
the middle one.
You keep your eye on the displays.
Playing
the
just
one on the
something
far
awful,
left
like just
that
like
will look very
Just
it's
the
like-
Friends
to you
episode
if
or
you've
something.
done
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
or not if you've done the manual docking demo.
like a
that we
Christmas
talked about
movie
a little
from
bit
like
earlier
the
on
Hallmark
the
Channel or
SpaceX
something, like
website.
something really bad.
Doug Hurley's going to be at the physical controls, so he's going to be the one flying.
The
today.
core,
Dragon
yeah.
SpaceX, if you are ready, we're going to command far field pointing.
Here we go.
I don't know. So Tyler's saying they're watching The Room, maybe. I don't know what The Room is, but have you watched that movie, just Room? Have you watched that movie?
Room?
Copy.
Room.
No.
Go watch it.
I don't watch a lot again, just
You should watch Room.
So again, they're
Not
gonna
like
put
out
it
of any
in-
spite.
into
I
a
just
far field
don't.
Pointing, so they're gonna
I
put
think
it
he'd
into
like
a
it.
special configuration, just to let the flight.
Jake, are we hanging out for
computer
the
know that, hey, this
if there's a
manual
speech?
flight test is
Are we doing that?
happening, And then the flight computer won't be trying to.
I
Fight
mean,
it
at some point we
or
have to
adjust
stop
the
this
attitude
stream.
of the point
At some point.
But I don't know when that is yet.
Doug is going to make as he's doing the manual flying.
Yeah, if there's
we're
a-
not going to send those final commands to the flight computer. So
If there's a
when they're
stream or
done,
something for it,
the flight
sure.
computer takes back control of the spacecraft, continues flying on its way to the.
I'm
station.
curious actually if that's going to be streamed.
Yeah, so I would imagine that right now they must be really excited to
Is
conduct
it,
this test that Bob and Doug
did
are
Trump stick
test
around, or
pilots.
is it
This
Pence? Like, what's going
this is
on?
what they live
Nobody
for.
knows.
And
I bet it's
them to
JB
have
for
the
a little bit.
opportunity to test out
Well,
a
obviously,
completely new
but-
vehicle,
He's going to be crying
this
his
upcoming
eyes out
test
still.
is certainly something that I'm sure they've been looking forward to.
So we're just going to continue to stand by. We'll get this test started. We'll be hopefully over their shoulder the whole time, and we'll bring you the results after it's concluded.
Emily Speck went live.
Oh.
Going live. This, by the way, this coverage sucks. If this is the demo that we're gonna see,
It's not great. so far.
even better. Now they're making us
hey,
look bad.
Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, here we go.
042, far field manual piloting. The test must be completed by 21:26.
So they're back over the U.S. now.
Okay, we copy. We've got to go for 4.042. We'll put that in work and understand the test needs to be completed by 21:26 Zulu.
Good read back.
What time is that in current time?
21:26 Zulu. Is that what he said?
Yeah, what time is it currently? It is currently 20:57.
21
So-
is
21:26. They've got about a half hour for it. So what? They
Yeah,
just play
yeah,
around
half
for a
hour.
half hour? They go full Scott Carpenter. Doug, you don't have enough propellant to get to the ISS anymore.
Worth it. He's probably got like a bunch of maneuvers to try, right? Like
Yeah. Translation.
translate, yeah, spin, yeah, do all the axes, right? All six.
They probably
six
want
modes.
more response times and whatnot that they want to see
Three-
how quick it responds and what it feels like.
You
if the
probably do
controls
three
make
axes of
sense.
rotation. You'll do roll, pitch, yaw, and then you do translate left, right.
I mean, we
up,
were just
down.
doing it.
Yeah, basically that. And we did it pretty fast. I don't think we needed a half an hour.
I hope he has a better thing though than this keyboard.
And I assume he's had fewer drinks than us. I'm gonna
Assume that, and I assume that he's done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably had a little more time in the simulator than we have. A little bit.
Try to go AirPod in the ear again to see what Emily Speck's doing over there.
Smart. See if I can do that too. Well, that's not very comfortable. It just fell out of my ear.
It's going great. Listen, I'm gonna say that if this is the coverage, I'm not gonna do this for a while.
No.
It seems it's much different than I was expecting.
Have to keep. This is all
That portion of that SRB in the back of this VAB setup is so trolly.
It's sad.
No Starliner. They didn't roll that one out.
Yeah, I don't think that would be an appropriate one to roll out right now.
Emily Speck has an awesome awesome mask on,
This
by
is
the way.
Mission Control
Oh, does she?
Houston.
I
For
haven't
those
even
of you
seen it.
watching, Bob and Doug are inside the Crew Dragon vehicle.
No, we're not
performing
watching it,
the
Gary. We
manual
can't see
flight
it because he
test.
won't
You
show
can maybe
us.
see a little bit on the front screens here from the inside cabin. Bob and Doug manually piloting the Crew Dragon. They're in something called local vertical.
Nope.
Here we go.
JB.
Go NASA.
Jim going full Jim.
Go SpaceX.
Oh, Jim.
Go America. It was just a year and a half ago.
Look at him. He's like over the moon right now.
Put in his State of the Union address, he said, "We are going to launch American astronauts on American
Go
rockets
America," he said.
from American soil." And he looked at me and he said, "You're going to make that happen." And here we are a year and a half later, and with the help of Elon Musk and the SpaceX team, we have delivered.
I hope he does a thing where he makes the whole crowd chant American astronauts on American rockets on American soil.
Is just beginning. There is so much more.
Like maybe a call and response.
He turned
American.
around and he recreated a moon program.
American.
And he said we're going to go to the moon for a purpose because we as a nation are going to get to Mars. And I will tell you, this area, this little agency we call NASA is excited about it. I want to tell you a quick story. My job is to introduce the Vice President of the United States, and I'm going to do that in just 1 second, but I have to take a moment.
Yes, if Trump's out. He's
It was
out of
about
here.
9 years ago, that the space shuttle Atlantis landed right here for the last space shuttle mission in the history of the United
Say
States.
American, you say soil.
And the next day, 2,000
God,
pink
that
slips
has to
went out.
happen.
And over the course of the next 2 years, this area went from 15,000 jobs down to 7,500 jobs. Devastation for the Kennedy Space Center and really a lot of very disgruntled NASA employees. But I'll tell you this, the vision now is as bright as it's ever been. We are one step by one step accomplishing what we need to do as a nation to lead again in space, and it's not just rhetoric. The president is backing it up with his budget requests, and we're getting bipartisan support in both the House and the Senate for this very aggressive space agenda that includes NASA, but it also includes
I know a lot of people are mad about how he mentions the current administration with regards to commercial crew, but you got to do it if you want the cash.
Now I have the great honor of introducing.
Also, it's not
politics. This is why he's good at the job. It's politics.
Yeah.
By the President of the United States.
It's not like the current administration hasn't done a bunch of budgets. Like they didn't invent the program, but
we're going to make space a priority, and here's how serious I am about that priority. We're going to put the Vice President of the United States of America as
Get that bread,
the chairman
JB.
of the National Space Council, and we're going to put on that council the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Commerce and the Secretary of Transportation and
The funny part is, if the National Space Council didn't meet like 2 weeks ago, when he talks about it here, they wouldn't have met for like a year.
is again
So-
leading in space, and we are proud. This little agency, yes, please, America is leading again in space. And I can tell you that when the Vice President got that role
that
of
one's gonna get
chairman
some
of the
feathers
National
ruffled.
Space Council, he took to it like a duck takes to water. We've had meeting after meeting about how to make America preeminent in space, and of course I have entertained phone call after phone call about this mission
Again,
that we accomplished here
put this
today.
all in context that in the last week, the Biden campaign had an event with a NASA administrator and a congressperson from Florida, and they both said they liked this guy that's on screen right now. That doesn't happen. That's not a thing that happened before.
Right here at the Kennedy Space
That's
Center,
weird.
We are seeing the benefits of that today.
Not weird in a bad way, but it is notable in that
we have a human landing system funded
maybe he
to go
doesn't
back to the
stick around
surface
if
of the moon,
Biden
and now
wins.
we have
But if the programs do, we'll go back to my thing. How much does the administrator matter?
Thank you
A little
for
bit.
partnering with us yet again. So it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce to you the chairman.
I might start doing live streams about space political speeches because I'm having more fun watching this when I can yell into this camera randomly.
Thank you,
I
50
love,
people,
hold on,
for hearing
listen
our
to the
ranting.
Vice President song because I love it. Because I love that there's a song that it plays when he shows up anywhere. It's so Disney World. Like this, I'm waiting in line at a Fantasyland ride.
100%.
Yeah.
This is the walkway up to the
Big Thunder
camera.
Mountain.
Yeah.
I'm on the.
Yeah, this is the song they play for the vice president. This is, you have to have this. It's like a law or something. You have to play this song as he walks on stage, and he has to have that podium.
Well, no. So this does say the president. The seal is the president. So I think Trump is here.
Maybe.
But Pence is like, no, I'm not. I gotta go up there. Listen, Donald, have you ever been to a concert? There's always two bands and then the headline.
There you go. There you go.
It is an honor and a joy for me to be here with the President of the United States at Kennedy Space Center.
I think another helpful way to frame this, politics aside, I know that everyone's got feelings on the person that is on stage right now or will be in a few minutes. Just keep saying in your head the position. Say the vice president said a thing or the president said a thing, and then judge that. Judge the thing that the office said, not the guy. Especially when the Biden campaign apparently also agrees.
You know, for too long, the American space program was neglected and ignored. Those days are over.
And you know what's a really good argument right now is anything against China. The world has a lot of appetite for we don't like what China's doing. So
yeah.
You know, it's been more than 50 years since our nation first set out to leave this planet and land American astronauts on the moon. And today, under this president, we begin a new mission to return to the moon and ultimately land American astronauts on the face of Mars.
Right on the face. We're gonna land right on their face, Jake.
You know, when the Apollo rockets leaped into the skies in the 1960s, they rose above the tumult and the clamor of their times. They were a symbol of national strength and unity. And today, as states across the nation take their first steps to reopen and recover from an unprecedented pandemic, and as our nation reels from the tragic death of George Floyd and violent protests of the past few days, I believe with all my heart that millions of Americans today will find the same inspiration and unity of purpose that we found in those days in the 1960s. In America, every life matters.
I gotta do a battery swap, Jake.
Okay.
Hot swap. You got this for a second. Please enjoy the U.S. Vice President with the Canadian, Jake Robbins.
Yeah, here's the Canadian
Justice
commenting on
will be served.
racial tensions in the U.S.
We will have law and order in our streets, and we will heal our land. And as the people of this country did so long ago, we will prove again that even in the most challenging times, Americans rise above. We always move forward. We overcome every obstacle. We reach new heights, and we reach them together.
We got a good hot swap. Battery staging complete.
And in that spirit, today we begin a new era of human space exploration. And the credit goes to dedicated men and women all across this country, to the ingenuity and the hard work of the entire NASA team. America is proud of the men and women of NASA. But for the first time in our history, our astronauts have taken to the skies on a commercial rocket built by America's private sector. So join me in a vigorous
Look at this production,
round of
Jake.
applause for Elon Musk and the dedicated men and women of SpaceX. Job well done.
Still no video from Dragon, other than the one overhead shot where you can't see the windows.
Tyler's saying the speech has been better than expected. Pence is not a bad speaker. That's the truth of it.
Except for I didn't pull yourself back on screen. Except for when he wanna make a point
draws it
about
out.
something dramatically.
You know, he executes the speeches given to him. That's what I mean, right? We talked about this at IACs. Like, he doesn't really mess up the speeches.
No.
Thanks, Elon. And of course, none of this would have been possible without the personal courage and the unflinching skill of 2 American astronauts. One of them is an active duty colonel in the Air Force. He, like his crewmate, was accepted in the NASA Astronaut Corps in 2000. He served on several shuttle missions. The other was the first Marine pilot to fly the Super Hornet. And he's logged hours in more than 25 aircraft. In fact, his second flight was the very last mission of the space shuttle.
Did he mention the Earth giving birth to a piece of the sun? No, not yet.
And giving a vigorous round of applause
Hasn't
to
mentioned that
Commander
yet.
Bob Behnken and Commander Doug Hurley. We are proud of our American astronauts. Because of their courage and your hard work, America is leading in space again. Today is the culmination of 3.5 years of renewed leadership in space. It's a tribute to our astronauts. It's a tribute to the ingenuity of the men and women of SpaceX and NASA. But I'm here to tell you it's also a tribute to the vision and leadership of a president who, from the very first days of this administration,
did you see it from
was
Italy there?
determined to revive NASA
Rafael
and
in chat
American
says
leadership
maybe he
in
saw
human
Dragon.
space exploration. Today is a tribute to the leadership of President Donald Trump.
How full is the VAB right
As
now?
the president
I wonder,
said
did
in his
they
inaugural
space it out in there?
address,
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
packed that
That'd be
thing
birth of a new
sometimes.
millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space.
What is going on with this?
And that's exactly what we're doing. The president revived the National Space Council after it lay dormant
Jake,
for
I've got a
25 years. He brought
thing
together
for
the
you to
best
review
minds
here.
in and out of government to revive the American space enterprise.
How do you feel about this
We
photo?
reformed the National Space Traffic Management System. We streamlined regulations for the commercial use of space.
Who is that
2017,
guy?
That's Elon.
President Trump made it
Oh,
possible
is
for the United States to return to the moon by 2024 and ensure that the next man
Did they hand out
and the
shirts of this
first
thing?
woman
It looks like it,
to
yeah.
set foot on the moon
I think
would
that's
be
his brother in the
American
cowboy hat as well.
astronauts.
Kimball?
Yeah.
And we're on our
Because he
way.
always wears a cowboy hat. That's the only reason I know that.
And at the president's direction, we won't just go back to the moon.
That's going to be up there with the Maracas photo for sure.
Yes, 100%. With the, has he got sweat stains too? Is that?
Oh, is that what?
Astronauts on Mars.
Yeah, he does. Oh yeah, through like 4 shirts.
So we're leading again.
Jeez, I'm never looking at that
That's
again.
impressive.
For our prosperity, for our explorer's spirit, but we're also leading for the security of the American people. As nations around the world increase
stare
their
at Elon's
investment
pits,
in space, this president also took the decisive step to ensure that America remains as dominant in space as we are in land and air and sea, when he created the first new branch of our armed forces in more than 70 years.
Oh, nice.
the
Dragon was
United
1.5
States Space
magnitude.
Force.
Pretty good.
Yeah. For so small, right?
Yeah.
So the American people can be confident. After
I wonder
today's
when we'll hear about
history-making
the
launch that
solar panel performance.
We're just getting started.
Because that was like the one thing that was going to be a limiting factor.
With the courage of our astronauts, the ingenuity of NASA and private partners like SpaceX, the support of the American people, and God's grace, we'll never stop pushing to reach new heights, to go farther and faster and higher than ever before. We will inspire the world as America leads humanity into the vast expanse of space for generations
Jake,
to come.
who is the next Canadian astronaut
Now
up?
it's my high honor and distinct privilege
I don't
to
think there's been a
introduce to
flight
you
assignment
the man whose
that we know
vision
about.
and relentless leadership
But it would
brought
probably
us to
be.
this historic day, the
It's got to be
45th
soon, right?
President of the United States of America,
It
President
should be
Donald
Jeremy
Trump.
Hansen, I assume.
Let's look at who's coming up here. Wow, we're going full out here. Are you loving this, Jake? There aren't a lot of crew assignments right now, which is interesting for the ISS.
Yeah.
I wonder if so much of it was just dependent on this, you know, because I think ESA and Canada and JAXA were probably waiting for commercial crew. I assume we'll start hearing a lot more now. Like, what if once Crew 1 is scheduled, we'll start hearing more flight assignments.
Yeah, probably a little bit of a
Because JAXA's
backlog,
got
right?
one going up on Crew 1, right? Sochi, Noguchi, who is awesome. Did you see his interview the other day?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he's so great. Because the host said like a few things in Japanese, and he was so excited about it every time she did. It was awesome.
Well, thank you very much. Please, please. Big day is a big day. And I want to thank our great Vice President for your fearless and tireless commitment to fulfilling America's destiny in space. Thank you very much, Mike. Great job. Great job. We're also grateful to Mike's wonderful wife, Karen, for being here and for all she does for our country. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Before going further on this exciting day for all America in space, I want to say a few words about the situation in Minnesota. The death of George Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis was a grave tragedy. It should never have happened. It has filled Americans all over the country with horror, anger, and grief. Yesterday, I spoke to George's family.
People are surprised that this is political. Like, it's the president.
For their loss.
What? And people are saying it's surprising he's bringing this up. Imagine if he didn't. And then, how's that look? You can't do that.
You don't have much of a choice.
You can't not. There's helicopters right out my window right now.
Yeah.
Here. You know, 3 days, 4 days after all, everywhere in the country. You can't not.
Are the mission at hand.
And we also have had many moments in history, like was mentioned earlier, where we've had national strife and a great space moment at the same time. We've had 68, 92, like many moments where space was the uplifting part.
To see what further charges may be warranted, including against, sadly, the other three. In addition, my administration has opened a civil rights investigation, and I have asked the Attorney General and the Justice Department to expedite it. I understand the pain that people are feeling. We support the right of peaceful protesters, and we hear their pleas. But what we are now seeing on the streets of our cities has nothing to do with justice or with peace. The memory of George Floyd is being dishonored by rioters, looters, and anarchists. The violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing
Now we're getting...
who are terrorizing.
Should have had a nice exit ramp there.
Oh man,
right?
So close.
This
so
is
close
where
to being
this is where it
palatable.
turns. Yeah.
Burning down buildings. The main victims of this horrible, horrible situations are the citizens.
Yeah, there was an exit ramp there that
in these
Boy, is his specialty not knowing when to stop talking. Let's say that.
I need another drink.
are devastating the life's work of good people and destroying their dreams. Right now, America needs creation, not destruction. Cooperation, not contempt. Security, not anarchy, and there will be no anarchy.
Yeah, right. Like NASA probably didn't sign up to have the meatball in the background of this one. This is actually okay. My prediction is this is when they ditch the meatball, go full worm. This is it. Meatball's out.
Allow a small group of criminals and vandals to wreck our cities and lay waste to our communities.
This is the downside of having a great space event in an election year.
But again, I just want to keep going back to it. The Biden campaign had a major event where they invited all of the press from the space industry to it and said they're going to keep doing the current thing. Space is in a weird spot.
Keep our cities safe, protect our communities from gangs and drugs.
Also, like, JB cares a lot. Pence cares a lot. I don't think Trump spends a lot of time thinking about space.
No one is more
right? Like,
than fellow law
the Discord. Where's Elon saying, "Hey, wrong press conference"? Move on.
That is good. That is good.
Mob violence, and we'll stop it cold. It
Oh,
does not
God.
serve the interest of justice
That
or
is
any
really funny.
citizen of any race, color, or creed for the government to give into anarchy, abandon police precincts, or allow
Yeah, man, like,
communities to be
too
burned
many
to the
minutes.
ground. Won't happen. Those making excuses or justifications
I don't want to get too deep into it, but like, what is this doing for you at this point?
but delivering
Right?
new anguish and new pain.
And I wonder, like, so like here's a political thought experiment for you, but like when you're, let's say you're an advisor to Trump and you're writing this speech, you're coordinating this speech, like, what is your impression of what the audience is right now?
Precisely what I mean. Like,
Right.
what are you getting out of going on this long to these
What is
500 people in this?
What is the cross section of American demographics that's tuning into this space flight? And is there really much of a middle section of that Venn diagram to the people that are gonna be like jazzed up by the speech? It's interesting.
Yeah, you know, do a separate press call about this. Do an event on the steps of Air Force One. But here, you get in, you talk about the connections to the 68 time. You talk about how we have things that can uplift us, and we don't always get everything right in the country, but we do get some things right some of the time.
Yeah,
and we try to
it's
learn from the
so
good
easy
things.
to pivot on this.
Yeah,
right?
like. You've got an African American flying on the next flight of this vehicle that just went up, who's gonna, I think, be the first long-term member of the ISS.
Yeah.
Who have the least.
Like, you have so many easy exit ramps from this for this event.
Are now in close communication with
Especially if the Biden campaign is so worried about space that they called a press conference in May of an election year to talk about space policy.
in America,
So you clearly the other campaign is worried about space in terms of winning this state that you're in.
Yeah.
to dominate won't happen. It is essential that we protect the crown jewel.
Pat wants me to bring back the Rush Limbaugh bit from the other day. From our, if anyone was around for our test stream last night.
Every citizen in every community has the right to be safe in their workplace, safe in their homes, and safe in our city streets. This is the sacred right of all Americans that I am.
By the way, we brought up Victor Glover a second ago.
And will
He's going to be my favorite astronaut, I'm already convinced.
Oh, he's so enthusiastic.
Like, his antics on the ISS for months, I'm so excited for that.
I just can't wait for when these Dragon flights are regular and there's like always just like a huge crowd of people on the US.
Yeah, right.
Segment. Like
You have
it's
so
just
much
always
more
going to be a
time.
party. It's not just going to be like two, like sometimes they have those conferences where it's just like two floating people with a microphone.
Oh, flip the mic to each other.
Yeah, and they're like 0 G,
Yeah.
and then they like now there's gonna be like a party, and it's gonna be like a whole crowd like, hey, what are you doing?
I have never known quicker that I have a new favorite astronaut who hasn't flown. Has he flown yet? I don't think he has, right? Because I think he's recent. He was 2013.
Yeah,
so this will be his
2013
first.
group, no flights.
I've never known that event that was. How long ago was that? Too? Yeah, there's the photo. I gotta pull this up. Come on, that's gotta be the best photo. Oops. What am I doing?
To ever greater heights
Open
of
original.
justice and opportunity throughout our history.
Look at this photo.
So today, as
there we go.
mark
Just
Look
leave
at
that up.
photo.
That's a much better,
Look
much
at that
better
photo.
to look at.
The weird patch placement for the commercial crew thing right below there. Oh, what's going on there? Why is my
Got to move it out of the way of the zipper.
Right here on Earth. When Americans are united, there is
Look
nothing
at that
we
photo.
cannot do. From
Like,
day
tell me
one
that guy's
of my
not your favorite astronaut.
administration, We put America first.
Can we get a Photoshop of these two?
This afternoon, I am delighted to be with you
So good.
at Cape Canaveral.
Is he back to space yet?
In this storied home of American daring, aspiration,
Sounds like it.
and drive.
He ain't got a lot of time
This
left,
is
though,
the
I'm
first
sure.
big space message in 50 years. Think of that.
Who's going to tell him to get off?
And it is an honor to be delivering it. Today, as we gather in this special place to celebrate not only the launch of a new spacecraft, but also our nation's bold and triumphant return to the stars. It's a special day. Moments ago, the world bore witness to the flight of the first new manned U.S. spacecraft in nearly 40 years since the space shuttle launched in 1981, a long time ago. I am thrilled to announce that the SpaceX Dragon capsule has successfully reached low Earth orbit and that our astronauts are safe and sound.
Hilarious.
Sounding out the words to space terms.
With this launch, the
Low.
decades of lost years
Successfully
Earth
reached
orbit.
Leo. Who's
are
Leo?
officially
I don't know who Leo is.
A new age of American ambition.
He wouldn't
has
know because
now
it would be all
begun.
caps, and that's how a lot of his
Past leaders
regular
put
words
the
are.
United States at the mercy of foreign nations to send our astronauts into orbit. Not anymore. Today, we once again proudly launch American astronauts on American rockets, the best in the world,
Ah, he
from
blew it.
right here on American soil. Those of us who saw the spectacular and unforgettable liftoff this afternoon watched more than an act of history. We watched an act of heroism. Every time our astronauts climb aboard a rocket, which is many, many stories of only engine and fuel, and vault across the sky,
A little bit
they
extra, but
display
it's cool.
breathtaking valor. What Colonel Douglas Hurley and Colonel
Touch the
Robert
face of
Bacon
God.
did this afternoon was pure American genius and courage. They joined the ranks of just 7 prior American astronauts who have made the perilous maiden voyage to test a new class of spacecraft. The names of Hurley and Bacon will stand in the history books alongside those of legends like Alan Shepard, Gus Grissom, John Young. Now these brave and selfless astronauts will continue their mission to advance the cause of human knowledge as they proceed to the International Space Station before returning to Earth. We wish them Godspeed on their journey, and as one proud nation, we salute their fearless service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to send our nation's gratitude to the wives of these valiant astronauts, both of whom are astronauts themselves, Karen Nyberg and Megan MacArthur. We join them in praying for our heroes' safe return. As you know, this spring our nation has endured the pain and hardship of a global pandemic. As we usher in a new era of manned spacecraft, we are reminded
Jonathan
that
McDowell
America
says
is always in
that
the
it was in a 190 by 211 kilometer orbit.
challenges. Our
Pretty
nation
low.
is blessed with limitless reserves of talent, tenacity, and resolve.
Pretty low.
The same spirit of American determination.
I don't know if that
sends
was
our people
before or
into
after the
space
first burn.
will conquer
Yeah, because there's a
this
boost burn, right?
disease on Earth.
Yeah, there's a boost burn coming up
Should have
in
never
a couple
happened.
hours.
Nothing,
Let's see.
not even gravity itself, can hold Americans down or keep
Are you ready to eat dinner?
America
Because I'm ready to
back.
eat dinner.
I'm ready for lunch.
For lunch, you haven't eaten lunch.
NASA
There's nothing in
Jim
this speech,
Bridenstine
so not that we predicted
and
that there would
Director
be.
of Kennedy Space Center Bob
Does it just
Cabana
end after this?
for welcoming us.
Yeah, I mean they've
We're gonna
got
follow up the
a
president, I
bunch
guess,
of
right?
press conferences coming up soon, but I bet that they would.
Great job. Great
I'll
job.
find that. Where's that
Come
schedule?
a
I
long
had
way
up.
in 3.5 years, Jim, haven't we? Huh? A long way. To the incredible men and women of NASA from here at Kennedy Space Center to the Johnson Space Center in Texas, we love you too. To NASA Plumbrook
Shout out
Station
to
in
Plumbrook.
Sandusky, Ohio. Thank you all for working so hard.
Anyone have any NASA centers in swing states?
Yeah, wish there was a NASA center in Minnesota, and that would be really helpful right now.
Also with us are many members
Wisconsin. We got to get a NASA center there.
of my great new DNI, John
All right, let me turn
Radcliffe.
this down.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Random shoutouts.
We have a great friend of mine,
5:55.
ran a great
20 minutes or so until the downlink event, and then a press conference at 6:30.
Thank you, Ron.
All right.
So,
It's a good time for a break.
it's a good time.
Scott and Marco
We gotta
Rubio,
turn that
thank
off.
you very much. Thank
I
you.
gotta turn this off.
Thank you.
Bye, Trump.
See you, man.
Thanks for all your help.
Well, Jake, it was a good day. Where's my camera? Here it is.
It was a good day.
It's a good day.
Thanks everybody for coming out to hang out with us. This was a lot of fun. Let us know. I would love to hear feedback from listeners on like straight up like what did you like about what we did today? What did you not like? What do you wish we would add or remove to future streams? We're still figuring out this whole video thing. I don't know. I don't really know what the right decision is. We had a lot of discussions about, you know, where and when do we stream over other things, and it's always like an interesting balance. So I want to hear what you think. Let us know, and we had fun. That's the one thing I can tell you for sure.
Yes, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm not doing the like and subscribe thing. I'm literally just telling you to subscribe so that I can make the channel have a good URL that I can say on the next podcast that we do, so we can say YouTube/Off-Nominal. I like just hanging out and doing these kind of events, and I feel like the more crew events that we've got, the more we'll do it. So I think we're here now. We're on YouTube. We're ditching Twitch. We're on YouTube. Everyone likes it better. It's easy to set up. So did you like a hangout? Do you want more video content generally? Let us know.
Yeah.
Email literally anything at offnominal.space.
Email YouTube comments at offnominal.space.
Yeah, I don't really know how that part works yet, but
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're ditching that Jeff Bezos owned company.
Yeah, I don't want Bezos to own what I do. I don't want
you to think that I'm like favoring Blue Origin here. So,
okay, I will get a better camera, I promise. I promise it's on the list.
get one with Zoom as well.
Yeah, with Zoom. So I can go and then
Well, until next time, we've got a show coming up probably in a couple of weeks, right?
oh yeah. Off-Nominal.
Yeah.
That podcast we do.
You know. Until then, that's all we got.
That's all we got. Thanks for hanging out with
Elon
us.
is about to give a speech. We're going to watch it while we're eating dinner.
Yeah,
I'm going to
totally.
eat dinner. I'm starving.
Do you want to just flip over to that stream? Or I guess people will just watch on their regular stream.
Yeah,
just
watch
go
it.
to NASA's stream.
Just go somewhere else on the internet.
Yeah, no, watch us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.